Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ESA Season 9, and we are getting deeper and deeper into this playoff bracket, and it is getting very, very exciting as we start to near the end at this point. I'm McCready. Joining me today is going to be Puffo Bob with an exciting game up ahead for ourselves. Why don't you tell us what it's all about, Puffo?
Well, it's all about the Gru family. MG Minions facing off against the Silent Family in a best of 3 format. And you said it, it's a bit late into the current season. It's round 4 of phase 1. So absolutely phenomenal. Now, in the meanwhile, let's head over to the brackets. Let's see what we're rocking here with. Well, right now it's 2-1. So whoever gets lost is going to be bumped down to that second loss and be in danger of elimination if they lose yet again. And of course, the qualification right now, that's what we're being played for. In the meanwhile, though, let's switch over to the map bans. What maps are we going to be playing here today, McCready?
So I expect teams to be going a little bit kind of comfortable. They're not really going to be going for stuff really out there because, like you say, both these teams, they have an opportunity to qualify. They're not knocked out just yet if they lose this game, so the risk isn't there in the same way. But we are going to head to Bank, Nighthaven, and Consulate. So Bank and Nighthaven, two maps that teams tend to try and avoid. They don't really tend to like it, but it seems like Silent Family and Minions are very happy to bring it out and kind of bring it out as a wild card, especially at this stage. So they can get the edge and make sure they get that qualifying spot because it is an all important spot now if you're able to win this game. Consulate coming out at the end, I feel like that's just where teams will kind of say, well, nobody really plays it that much, so we can win off our gun skill. We can win off our natural coordination. That's the approach that we're going to want to take on that. I don't know how I feel about Consulate, but I feel at that point, though, once you've gone through that map, that wild card you wanted to use is gone. Consulate's kind of the map that you'd look back and say, well, we've got to try something. And, well, our map didn't work, so we'll just give the Consulate a go.
Without a doubt. Now, of course, we also have some predictions to take a look at in the background to see what percentages are and who voted with which team. And in the meanwhile, well, there it is going to be 71% for MG Minions and 29 heading right over to Silent Family. Seems like it should be a one-sided map statistic-wise, although those are just statistics, and we're going to be in the meanwhile slowly heading into the match. Now, of course, you voted for Silent Family. I went for MG Minions. Any reason behind that, McCready?
Well, I can't speak for the word of Mighty, but I think Mighty might have looked at this and said, well, Silent Family, they are a good team. They are still at this point where they got knocked down a little bit, but they weren't actually eliminated. They've been able to kind of claw their way back up after fighting up against, I believe it was round 0 before. So going into this, I feel like they've given a reason to prove why they need to be at this point. But definitely, I think they are facing that underdog story at the moment where they have to deal with the fact that people are expecting Minions to win this out. I mean, Minions are a strong team. They've got good coordination. They work well. And there's just a really, really good kind of branding around them. I think I'm quite a fan of it. I know quite a few of us are. Going into this, let's take a look at the operator bands. On a map like Bank, I feel like operators such as Cade, maybe a Nomad, they're going to be kind of key operators to take off the board. But again, we're going to see the Monty kicking things off, and we might even see the Maverick join them, or at least a Yip.
I think it's going to be a bit more towards that Ying Dokubi side, especially because it's in the meta right now. Just like the Monty, without question that you want to get that shield out. The Blitz, the Monty, they are overwhelming as of current in the meta. And with it, I mean, the Ying, we don't even question because she's absolutely overpowering on every single side she can be. In the meanwhile, though, it's going to be the Jackal, which is quite reasonable, seeing as how big this map is. Bank is absolutely huge, and clearing ground roamers can be quite tedious. So, Jackal, the best solution right next to Deimos, and of course, if Silent Family here do want to get rid of him, or maybe MG Minions, this was their pick, maybe they want to go on a roam spree when they're on the defense. In the meanwhile, though, for the first defender being banned here is going to be none other than Valkyrie. Yet again, Bank, huge map, which means huge rooms, huge hallways, all connected, and that works very well with the information she offers.
Yeah, and the thing with Valkyrie is Bank is a map where there's not kind of multiple routes to get out of a building. There's not. You think about open area, you're stuck with two kind of directions that you want to take if you want to get out of there. As a result, an operator like Valkyrie, if they have that information, you can really easily coordinate a pinch. So having Valkyrie there, given that information, cannot be allowed. In the same way that Jackal's been taken off. Cade, look towards that bottom floor, look towards those hatches. You've got to think, right, there's 4 hatches on that bottom floor, or even 4 or 5 that you need to get on that bottom floor. Cade is going to lock out 2 of them, unless the attackers bring the correct utility, which they need to assume that they're going to bring it. Now, going into this first round, we're going to head down to that bottom floor. We're going to see the typical kind of operators you'd look to expect from Silent Family, which is Echo, Smoke, Tuberou, and Goyo. All these operators just slow down the game, slow down the attack. And combined with the Jaeger, I feel like they might be quite happy to deal with XJ bringing out that Ying. The thing is, though, there's a couple of other operators that are going to be trying to cause issues. Evil Archie and Norby, most prevalently.
Yeah, that's what happens when you ban out specific operators. You want to get rid of the Monty? Fine. Same goes with Cade, Valkyrie, Jack. But in the meanwhile, that leaves out so much opportunities for such strong picks to come out, such as the Tuberov, such as the Demo, such as the Yink and Bravo, which are all absolute menaces to go up against. And of course, pick it because you can, pick it because it's in the meta, and pick it because it will help you majorly manage through and just escape through this entire map, get these gadgets out of the way, and in the meanwhile, also players while you're at it. Specifically looking at North, as you mentioned. Also, the Nook on pick is going to be very interesting to see. We'll love some nice sneak into side strategies, although we're going to have to get to those in the meanwhile. And with it, we get into the first round. Now, keep this in mind. The intensity is an all-time high because, of course, while you lose, it's not that big, it's not that deep, but it's a qualification game, so whoever wins here is safe.
Yeah, and both teams, they appreciate the severity of that, which is why you're probably going to see some strats you might not expect to see. For example, what we're seeing from the minions is they don't want to have that just turtle down on site. They've got a little bit more of an extension here. They've got a player over that you can see over towards that elevator side, and I believe that is Glock. They have that elevator side, that lone wall reinforced, and as a result, they can play on that hatch. They have ADSs to back them up. And the vector with the ACOG, I think every player in this lobby knows how difficult that can be to clear out. As a result, that means you are going to see SilentFamily rotate over towards square. They're going to try and get in. They'll know exactly where Glock is going to be, so in a very difficult situation, Nordy's going to drop, try and take this gunfight, but it goes both ways. Nordy knows where Deimos is, but Deimos knows where they are. Play on the flank here will be so key, but they go up at the last moment. If Glock wants to pop off and try and get a kill onto Deimos, they can. But they're going to need to drop back, waste that time, because with a minute half left on the clock, all 10 players in the lobby, it only ends one way, Puffo, and that is explosively. Very good start here from SilentFamily, getting this map control.
Absolutely love the Goyo cannons are placed on the left to isolate yourself from that left side. In the meanwhile, it's going to be a double kill here for Evil Archie. That absolute FMG putting to work. That's the Echo, a huge pick. The Jaeger being second, that's guns away. And with it, we head down to this last 1 minute and 15 seconds. Keeping that in mind, it's just gonna keep on snowballing. He gets another and another one right after that. That's gonna be a back-to-back kill, completely shutting down the entire team, leaving Glock shut down in vaults to face off against Northy, who was hunting him from the very start, and he's gonna be doing that job just finally enough.
Yeah, getting that information for the Deimos, the fact that we saw the Ash rotate off, then gave a little bit of freedom of movement to the player that was holding it, or the player that was sat in that spot and saying, okay, well, you know, I'm not going to get too aggressive. I'm just going to play a bit safe. Drop down, they go off. Suddenly that gives a lot of freedom of movement to the attackers. They know that that player is going to be involved. And when that happens, I mean, all that distraction, all that focus is on that top floor, is on those players with the Deimos that are getting the information. But that's when we just saw Archie being able to walk up garage. And then we saw Nordy and Interlude able to just walk into site and collapse. It really kind of all came together for the side of SilentFamily. I'd like to see them do it again, but they are going to have to do that on the top floor this time, Puffo. And the usual suspects being brought out in terms of defense operators.
Yeah, without a doubt. At the same time, I'm quite sad that, of course, while though the blue team, they absolutely demolished here. Without a doubt, minions, they absolutely ravaged and put them into the dirt. But in the end, they didn't even need to use that Yink that is so known and infamous for how strong her Candelas are. Although, looking over at this defense, you know, we talk about these strong operators, bring out the Echo, bring out the Tuberov, the Azami. This is an absolute dominant force in Rainbow Six Siege as of current, and if you don't bring that soft breach like a Flores and Ash, you are doomed. Time waste is imminent, and with it, the castle joins along for those window plays to try and deny him as much as you can, maybe force a pick, whatever the case may be. I do love the blue team's lineup here. Go for those breaches, clear out the utility, and then in the meanwhile, go for a simple execute with that Ying on hand.
Yeah, now with the Azami, it's the same way as Smoke or Legion. As time goes on, it only gets more valuable. They're able to sit in that situation, they can create angles that favor them, that they've already stratted, they've already worked out how they want to do it. And most importantly, as time goes on, as you can see, that keeper barrier does recharge. As a result, that means Timu can just kind of very reactively defend themselves in. The attackers will put pressure on the windows, the util will be taken off, and as a result, that wall will get opened up, which is something that the defenders are probably going to expect, which is why Mercs is going to be able to find the first kill onto Interlude. The floor is taken away. We talked about that soft breach being crucial. That's the first operator off the board, Papa.
Another crucial operator here is going to be the Doc. Glock healing up Echo to his full while also taking a gunfight. And you said it, the floor is now off of the board is going to be absolutely huge, giving Teemu even that much more value because it's either going to force some people to knife, get themselves in unpredicted abilities or situations. It's all going to be an absolute mix of chaos and such. As the Orange team, they get themselves a nice little head start. Jugo, though, he continues it. A 3v5 yet again. Get this two-man discount over for yourself and keep on going off of it, because it's at this point that you put a burden on the shoulders of your enemies and just rush them down in an instant. Now it's left down to this Ace and to this Ash, because I can't speak for the Ying, as currently she is off the border. Jugo, that's going to be his second into the round, and it leaves like it's all going to be down to this AK and, of course, the R4C.
That is the case. Now, sat over towards ATMs and stock. They're in very, very isolated positions. And as Evil Archie does take some damage, Glock is going to look towards that banana just to try and take control. A little bit of damage over towards Garrett. It feels like Archie's never really going to get out of there. And that's going to be the case as they get taken down. Spiny has to look for them 5 kills. The Ace, if they want to pick up the first round, but they're able to find Glock. They get Glock on Doc. Go for the second. The line of justice in there, and Jugo's going to take them down. Get a first round for defense, as we will no doubt back down to the bottom floor. Now, we saw a very good attack from the bottom floor. We saw that a defense are trying to bring out something new, something interesting. Is it worthwhile doing it again, Bob? That's my question.
I don't know. We're going to have to see, because honestly, the bottom floor is the best situation you have yourself going on for. And since they already played it in the prior round to the one upstairs, they can adapt, they can overcome, and maybe get themselves the second round. Now, of course, with it, the attack upstairs right now, it was quite crumbling. We saw how well it was played and how some operators came in clutch more than they should have. I mean, the Echo came into a gunfight, lost immense amounts of HP, got stimmed up. Then he went into a second gunfight and was left with 5 HP. He was alive for 2 times only because of that dox him, and that really complements these players' game fight styles or game styles, you name it. Go into a fight, come out alive. Maybe barely, but if a doc is there, he's surely to help you. Now, in the meanwhile, we go down to this downstairs, and in the meanwhile, also keep in mind the operators have already been switched out. Timu, he's on that Boss G. Yet again, that's another operator you have to consider purely because of the Boss G itself. The boomstick is absolutely overwhelming here.
Yeah, and even if you don't get that kill, you only do a bit of damage. You do a lot of damage. So you only got in the game to kill one shot down an operator, which even Callie's still can't do. Which is why it's such an impactful operator, and why a lot of teams do steal towards it. Because even if you don't get the kill, like I say, that is an investment for the end of the round, which might be the most needed one possible. Now, the adaptations I'd like to see here from the side of SilentFamily is that they've got the Melusi playing over towards that garage side. They've got the Banshees over there to keep an eye on this and make sure that they are safe and that they are not going to get snuck up on again like they were before. Now, as the rest of those Banshees go out, the attackers will have a big job. Yes, again, another roaming setup for the defense, but not the way that they've dealt with it before. Means the attackers are going to have to worry about the fact that these roamers can rotate and back each other up in an instant if they need to. Block will start doing a little bit of damage. Won't be able to find that kill just yet as the drone comes through. The position is given away, and now the Melusi Bank will get targeted by the Daemons. But as that information comes through and the third kill comes out from Northy, that means that the rest of the defense, SilentFamily, are ready and aware. Spiny might not even know, and Timu as they sneak up those square stairs. Boss G and SMG 12 in hand will be looking to get their first kill on the round. Is there any information from the attackers? Probably not. Jugo's able to find Spiny, which is going to get the rest of the attackers getting to absolute work. And Timu, aware that a Repel comes in, is able to find 1 kill, looks towards stock for the next one. But as the Yin Candela goes off, Merc's able to find that frag. And a 2 versus 4 at halfway is where we find ourselves.
Even with the Deimos, you cannot shut this man down. Timu with a double, drops from square and looks to find more, and that's exactly what he gets to. A triple kill out of nowhere. Someone get this man on the tracks and stop him, because that was absolute sprees. Now, without a doubt, this was a dominant round. Every single round up until now has been extremely one-sided. The second opening kill is brought, it transfers over to a second, a third, quad, even coming close to a flawless at times. And with it, it really seems like it's a bit of a tradition between these two teams. teams, as they have this sort of rivalry going on between each other to see who opens the match up, because they can snowball it well and they're confident into it. Looking at this replay, I mean, we saw 2 kills out of nowhere transferred over to a third, yet again onto that quad. Temu absolutely went off, and it's these energy sprees that allows them to do so. In the meanwhile, there's going to be a full 3-round rotation, and with it, we go on to the first floor. Open area for the first time here around, and operators yet again switching out. We still remain with that dock, the mute, the Goyo, the castle, but what we haven't seen is the maestro.
What worries me most about that last round, though, is the fact that, while there is a Maestro on the board this time, and yes, they have 3 Evil Eyes that they can use in a similar way to the Valkyrie cameras, but they can do the damage, they can deal with utility. We didn't see much blank camera watch utility coming out from the side of minions. That's something they're going to need to fix very, very quickly, because while it only costs them 1 round at the moment with Temu going up those square stairs, that can easily snowball, and it's something that can easily be forgotten in the heat of a battle. Now, to bring attention to what you said, like you said, those Maestro cameras, having that Alva, the amount of rounds that LMG can bring on the board is nothing short of an absolute war. Used to be a mainstay operator on a lot of defense rounds, and there's a good reason for that. Get on that utility, they position it correctly and play it right, you can stop a plank going down in the perfect seconds. I mean, even on this site, we've seen some incredible plays coming out in the esports scene. Now, as we see if there are going to be any more, the first question is, how good is Archie's droning? Are they going to spot Jugo down in garage? Yes, they will, and decide they don't really want to take that. They don't want that smoke, because they need to just play it safe. So, backing up, go with the rest of the team. The rest of the team are going to have to focus on this verticality here. And while there is a ram, there isn't much there in case that ram falls, Bob.
And we still haven't seen any lands of bullets just as of yet, but we have the information, and it's about to just happen. Now, both of these players, they have a key, they have a gut feeling, but in the end, it's going to be Inter to get one. A little trade out from Glock, the SMG-11 proving quite useful, and looking to C4 from below. I don't think it's going to be connecting onto anything, and of course, won't be connecting to the deal. Meanwhile, also Evil Archie, that R4C in hand, and with the Ash Shard slowly going in this aggression from the attackers, they slowly start running up with this verticality, completely pressurizing and also gunning down everyone in sight. Getting Sanji, that's a nice one. A second one from Archie onto Glock as he makes it a double man count for the side of MG Minions. Yet again, that's going to be that dominant performance. Almost attempted to go in from behind. The Maestro isn't necessarily a flanker, and in the meanwhile, you have to connect your bullets without a doubt if you want to come out alive. And with it is going to be Spino with a punish. In the meanwhile, Jugo, he finds Evil Archie, but it's all left down to Jugo here, and I don't think he can make it.
No, Mercs are using a lot of that ammo on the drone that they should not have been doing. And now, leaving Jugo, like you say, in that 1 versus 3, the death mark comes out. It's stopped by the mute jammer, but it gives away a little bit of information where they could be. The only way to stop that is getting the kill. Finding one on the drop, finds a second. Have to find the third. They know that Ram's playing over towards that archive side. The wallbang comes out. She's on such low HP. Sweep through, and they're not going to be able to find a kill. Jugo with a 1v3 to keep them in it. Incredibly well played, and it could have been a lot closer. But for the side of Minions, they could have closed that down a lot quicker, couldn't they?
Yeah, leaving out 1v1s such as these really amounts to so much. Jugo, without a doubt. SilentFamily now getting their second round in a row, and getting also a draw in the first half is going to be quite nice for them, especially seeing as they're on the defense. And in the meanwhile, what are MG Minions doing? I mean, giving 1v1 situations in spots like these, I maybe understand the first one, you don't have the information. But the second you already have one player down, keep up. Go for crossfires, go for refract. Whatever the case is, stick close and do not spread out, allowing this vector to just take out one after another. Now, MG Minions on the attack. Of course, there's been some lack. We saw that one round, the first one, absolutely out of hand. Of course, we can give credit where it's due, but that's the only time we can. SilentFamily here on a spree. They get more rounds, and of course, MG Minions, they can stop it out with a tactical timeout, although it may be just a bit too late as of current. And trying to continue off of it, we go back to the upstairs, and this is where SilentFamily has always been dominant. We saw that one round over here, and I think they're looking to continue it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this round was a very, very strong round for SilentFamily. They were able to find opening picks. They didn't really struggle that much in terms of those gunfights, and they were able to just isolate a lot of these attackers. I mean, for example, we saw Northeast sat outside by Terrace for ages, just trying to get onto that side, and just wasn't meant to be. The attackers, it felt like they didn't really have much steam behind them in this game on that round. We'll have to see if they've been able to put some coal in the engine at least. Now the attackers will have to look again the util off the board. That Thermite, that Thatcher is going to be brought out for that exact cause, but instead of the knock, because that knock didn't really work out last time. As a result of Flores and Thatcher with the util. On the defensive side, with not many changes, they've got the Yokai. It's going to give out the information on the players that can be run out on, because for no doubt, SilentFamily, they're feeling it. They're going to want to take those gunfights. As barricades will get popped and give an entryway onto some potential kill if they're able to find somebody who's not watching their angles. And as a result, Alsh will do what they did last time, rotate towards this main lobby, and hopefully not get cut off from the rest of the team.
MGBN is looking to dethrone SilentFamily from the streak of rounds they're having. They are going in fast. They are gaining this information they've been lacking, but at the same time, positioning is on key, and it's going to be allowing Merc to open it up yet again. That's going to be XJ9. That verticality isn't necessarily key on this map, especially not on this site specifically. The Ram, I don't know what the use could be, but it's a good operator to trade out rather that than the Thatcher Ace or anyone for in fact. And in the meanwhile, as they slowly push up, it's slowly as well just crumbling down. Glock gets that bailiff out, whips it, and definitely makes those bullets connect. Now it's a 3v5. Playing off of these windows, it's a good way to pressure from multiple points and get those anchors slowly tucked and turned. But in the meanwhile, you're losing time, you're losing players, and there are absolutely no controls you've given to yourself in terms of ground.
Yes, and with a minute left on the clock, that ground control is so badly needed. They've only just taken control of stock with Archie pushing in. And now the verticality will come through. Merc's able to find the kill because the yellow pink's coming out. Senji has one of their own, takes down Interlude. And now the last player's Northy on that window. Now the defenders know where they are. They're going to peek him. They're going to give away 2 kills for no reason. And as a result, like you said, the question is, are they going to do what Minions couldn't in the last round? Are they going to give away these picks? Are they going to give that opportunity for the player of Northy to really bring things up? Now, Northy's going to go in and drop onto the stairs. This gives them a bit of opportunity. Safety from the breach, yes. But it's not the breach they need to look out for. They'll be picked up from bottom square in a very anticlimactic end to the round there.
Yeah, it was still close though. It was still a 1v1 by the end of the day, and thankfully Tamu clutched it out and finished the job. That 4-1 looking chef's kiss, looking to even expand over to a 5-1 first half, although SilentFamily absolutely putting their name on the board, and kill feed is all theirs to claim because yet again, going for verticality, that positioning, their chemistry is really scaling over to them. It's leaning toward them, and with it, they have been completely crushing MG Minions as of current. Now, of course, it isn't to say that we haven't seen MG Minions on defense yet. They have their time to shine, and it's coming after this round, but in the meanwhile, get yourself that second, because the 4-2 split, it's balanced. I'd say it's still decent, something you can look up to and have some positivity when switching those roles. Yeah, I've won. I wouldn't be so certain.
Yeah, so in terms of differences in how a round goes, yeah, it's only one round, like you say, but it's the mentality behind it. Going on to the defense on a 4-2 split, you think, yeah, you know, this is what we're meant to be. This is what you expect on an attacking round on a map like Bank. Going on to the defense, you're not too worried about it. But going on to the 5-1, if Minions aren't able to pick up this attacking round on that bottom floor, which they were able to do before, then that's when I start to worry, because they might struggle trying to get that momentum going once they get into the defense. And for the side of SilentFamily, this is exactly what you want to be in. You've got those 4 rounds. You have an opportunity to make it even better. You just need one good attacking round. You sit on that match point quite comfortably. Now, the attackers, as they move in, a very similar kind of start as they normally got. They got Spiny going into ATMs, making sure nobody can possibly run out on those players that are going on that top floor. You've got the Deimos starting to make a very early presence towards the top floor to deal with these roamers. And without the Jackal, they need to use a lot of time, a lot of droning to get this done. So they're going to start that straight away. Beautiful pre-fire as Jugo will step into the bullets from Archie, being the first pick off the board.
Finally changing up the pace for MG Minions here is going to be Archie. Now, he has been quite a force for the entirety of the team. 5-4, it may not be as good as SilentFamily Jugo, without a doubt, on that A3 KD, but it's still something, you know? It's gotten them the round, and I think they want to continue that just for a second. Switch over to the defense, get themselves back, but in the meanwhile, it's going to be Spinny. That's one off the board. Glock, he lands the bullets, and he makes sure they count. And in the meanwhile, not even using that Boss G in the first place. The SMG, well, it's still quite a fearsome weapon without a question in mind. Now, 4v4, we have a bit of an equalization between the two, and I think with the time remaining, SilentFamily, they're looking just to slowly turn the time and make sure that MG minions waste as much of it, and then they're crushed, pressured into these last-second executes that have them surely fail. Now, with it targeting Deimos, in the meanwhile, just slowly pushing down with these can openers. At the same time, we're waiting for MG minions to completely choke him out. We have the flank, and we have Glock just slowly waiting here around the corner.
Yeah, and while you see Glock, they're not able to find the play. They actually shoot the wrong area. Archie's going to be able to take them off. It's all down to teammate to really stop this attacking line time from getting any traction. The plan starts to go down in the server. The defenders have to deal with these roamers. They have to deal with that top floor presence if they want to retake this site. This plank goes down. Team and Mercs each get a kill. The last two players over towards blue. They have a cam to get the information on the plan. They realize they need to look away. And as the defenders go to that bottom floor, this retake is going to have to happen soon because they don't know Interlude is on their own at the moment. The verticality is there. Defense, a little bit aware of it, but it's going to be Sinji first to fall. The Zombie Barricade going to block that line of sight. It's going to make it even harder. And as Timo goes for the swing, they're not able to find the kill onto the knock. They get taken down. And it's all down to Mercs. So with 10 seconds left, 2 attackers on the board. They get intercept, but they're not going to be able to find the last one. The nade goes down. It whips out a little bit. Is going to be the drop and the kill coming out for XJ. A 4-2 split and a badly needed one as well.
It was the last second effort by the Azami. So close. Merely half a second and it would have been yet another round. The 5th one in a row for SilentFamily. But MG Minions, they stop the streak. They get themselves one back and they're ready to get into the running motion side of things as we head over to their defensive. Now as well, we see the Vigil come out instantly. Evil Archie, he's been the fragger and he continues to do so. So far, we've had an interesting match. SilentFamily definitely kick things off with showing that their positioning is lacking. That's MG Minions. They're punishing them quite heavily, but in the end, it was a great retake we had this prior round, and I hope to see more plays like it. Going over to this round 7, I don't know what I'm expecting. I hope to see this go to a 6-6 because overtime here would be quite interesting because these teams are close. We see the fragging ability is not off. It's just these moments of mistakes. Of course, we've seen mispositioning. We've seen yourself open up the bullets. Maybe you just don't know what's happening in the midst of the action purely because you're broken under the pressure in that moment. And with it, of course, MG Minions, they've been a lot more common to do so than SilentFamily. That's what we see the score, and that's the reason it's there. Now, they're on the defense. They should be a bit more relaxed and a bit more calm because it's their site, it's their setup, their building, they set up on it, they play with it however they want, and SilentFamily are now against their rules.
Exactly. SilentFamily now need to really put their money where the mouth is and show that they can attack the map that they've just defended. Now, Hugo's got a lot of work cut out for them at the moment because you can see those goil canisters down on that bottom floor. With all the roam clear, with all the droning, it needs to be done for an attacking team. These goil canisters are going to be a real pain in the backside. They need to clear them out with the Twitch drones. They need to waste it. And it's just time that's going to get wasted. If they get shot out as a drone or mute jammed, that's pretty much it. They are going to struggle when it comes to this late game, and that's going to be the key thing for me, is whether we see SilentFamily decide that they're going to deal with the utility quickly, or if they're just going to ignore it. Ignoring it, though, does have its own set of other problems. Now, the roam game, again, is always something that we need to take into account. Archie going to be opting to bring out that boss GA cog as Dr. B scan comes through. We will see the Ash of Glock start to move in. Haven't had an amazing time fighting so far, but definitely feeling themselves with the R4C. And as Merc runs in, it's going to be Archie able to find that first pick. He'll be down to Glock to try and get that refrag. They're not going to be able to get it. They just missed the head by a whisker bomb.
Look at this time that's being wasted here. The Franker, it's normally made to, or the Roamer in this case, they're normally made to waste time. And that's exactly what we're seeing from Archie here. As not only has he gotten one pick, but allowed a bit of a trade-off with Enter to follow up with a second in the meanwhile, leaving not only the team without a Dokkaebi and Bravo, which are arguably the two of the strongest operators this team, SilentFamily, had to offer and bring along. At the same time, it's completely confused. Where do we go? How do we go about it? How do we push site? And so many questions just stacking one upon another, and at the same time you have to manage it within such a small time frame purely because you haven't made much progress. Yes, they've covered some ground, but at the same time they've left it open, leaving it open for Archie to make his way about, but in the end it doesn't matter. Block, he shuts him down soonly after. Spenny looking to get some bullets delivered onto him as he tries to fight back.
Yeah, the big problem is now the side of SilentFamily, they are looking towards this execute. They need to start making it happen with 50 seconds left. We talked about the utility, and now Jugo's starting to put pressure on. They've done damage to Spiny, like you say, but his stuff is restemmed up. And now they need to coordinate with the rest of the attackers who aren't even there at the moment. Blockhead's going to be taken down. Jugo does have an answer, takes down Spiny. Now 3 defenders are left on the board. Oil canisters haven't been popped just yet, but with 30 seconds left, interlude going on the flank. Spotted by the camera will drop down, but they've already made them aware that they need to be careful. It's going to be all down to Jugo who'll go for this push. The bees come out from Sinji. The plant starts to go down. They know that they could get pushed. The yokai is no doubt going to be a use. If it can be. Now interlude finding that kill. Will be swinging to stop Jugo, but it isn't going to happen. And the plant does go down. The F2 goes to work. Finds Inter. Looks for another one, but isn't able to find it just yet. They know where they are with the bees. Will find a pistol kill. Just need one more in the 1 versus 1. And they've got time to reload.
Is bad though. You're being up close and personal about it. Very stuck between not only the breach itself, but at the same time being completely overwhelmed by this impact. Northern comes swinging, not only throwing one to forcefully push Jugo away from his comfortable position, at the same time punish him for doing so and trying to get that reload in. At the same time, it was very intense. The 1v1 yet again, a 1v3 situation almost happened for SilentFamily there, and it was almost allowed by MG Minions. Thankfully, it was a 1v1 that solved it all, and with it, the Echo takes the victory, gets the defuse in, and the 3rd round for MG Minions. Now, how it all went down is absolute chaos. When it came down to the blind, yes, they risked it just for trading out those players and just to get something in, if nothing else. SilentFamily did put it all on red and hoped to win the gamble. In the end, it was this low HP, and well, of course, taking so many gunfights at once, it puts a lot of a burden on your brain. It has you working, and with it, it's just too much for you, Twitch.
Yeah, here's the thing though, I feel like we're getting to this point too much. We're seeing some of these rounds get a little bit too close. Now,
yeah,
for the side of Minions, nothing like it. Can't complain because you're going into the top floor, you're saying, right, we got that first round of the defense, we're starting to bring it back, we're only 1 round away from the defense. Now, this is starting to go the way that they wanted to, but I feel like we're seeing just little things, that we're seeing a lot of time being committed to roamers on both teams on their attack. Too much time being committed to these roamers that can be dealt with just a little bit more coordination, a little bit more kind of thinking about how they're going to position to cut them off, and a bit more methodical droning. Now, though, I'm going to stop being critical. We're going to take a look at this top floor site, and we're going to see a lot of utility being brought out. Namely, going to be that Castle, Goyo, Azami, Frost, and Mute combo. We talked about how impactful these operators are, just from a util point of view and a time-wasting point of view. Right now, especially with the Castle and the Goyo as well, we're going to see that kind of ramped up another level.
Yeah, we have to keep in mind that at the same time, as SilentFamily, they do bring out these counters pretty here. It's up to them to keep them alive. You know, we have the Azami, and it's all good for the attackers, all good and well, without a doubt, as long as you keep that Ashe alive. That Zofia, that Flores. When you have that ace off the board and you can't hard breach, yet again, it limits your strategy, has to make you move, and with it goes for every single operator. Now, this is so much stress to put onto one's mind, but in the end, you have to execute it, you have to punish, and you have to be good at it. Now, instantly going off of these window plays, and at the same time being very aggressive. An early push from Glock here as he makes his way through towards Printers and tries to push him out. It's just going to be too much. We have 1 from below, 2 from left, right, and center, but that leaves Jugo open to get a triple kill out of nowhere. It all goes down here for MG Minions, and it's left down for Northy and Evil here to finish it out. Now they're left in the 2v4. Well, correct me. It's a 1v4 now. Northy, although he has that UMP 45, and he does clutch out 1, will he be able to land any more bullets? Now, it depends on SilentFamily. Do they give him the 1v1 situations? No, they don't, and they claim the 5th round for themselves, getting themselves just 1 away from match point.
Yes, they do not allow Minions to equalize in this situation, and my, oh my, looking at that round, looking at that defense. I mean, we saw Glock getting in stock so early. They realized, okay, well, they've just got to deal with the frost mats, and then they can sprint into cover. Those reinforced walls allow for, yes, the defender to play there, but if an attacker could get in there, they can clear it. That's exactly what they did. They dealt with the frost mats, and they wasted time. As a result, they were able to just try and put this defender under pressure. Interlude had to stay alive. Wasn't able to overswing over towards square. Wasn't able to get aggressive over towards site and beating. They had to stay in that situation. They had to wait for the support. Spiny, that pulled them off the main stairs, removed that support from that position, and the attackers, they were able to just walk in. And when Jugo started to hit shots, Jugo's just too good, man. You can't deny that. 3 kills straight away before they got down. Before they also got hit by a frost knight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That means we're going to head back to this top floor, and that means we're going to have to see something massive from the minions to really change things up. In terms of operators, it's going to look like it's going to be that go. I think they're probably going to try and bump down that stock side even more. I don't think that this isn't necessarily the best way to go about this. I think maybe even having somebody just playing down below, having verticality to watch the windows, make sure that that jump out can't come through. That might be a really nice counter to this problem that they had last time. But at the end of the day, that round, the real problem was Jugo, and how do you counter a person specifically?
He's a madman, but I'm scared of repetition here. It's not keen to see repetition in Rainbow Six Siege specifically, but heading over towards this 9th round. Earlier, we saw MG Minions have a really good kickoff, the first round, and what followed, SilentFamily winning 3 rounds in a row, maybe even 4 if I'm correct. Now, yet again, MG Minions, they cling to back, but are we going to have that second lightning strike where SilentFamily just have it all completely rushed down and get those round after round saves? We're going to have to see. We head into the 2 minutes. Yet again, time is flying by and will let down to the final 2. As right now, it's MG Minions looking for a natural 20 to equalize it out, just so they're not up against a match point, because that, yet again, it's so much, it brings you down the morale and it breaks you under the pressure. But that's the 20 they find, and Northy, he finds Jugo, and that's going to be the MVP of the prior round, over, done, and dusted.
Yeah, exactly. Now for the side of SilentFamily, like you say, 1 round away from that match point and 1 player down from it. This is the opportunity they really, really need. If they're able to win this round, that means that they're able to keep things, they're able to get that match point. For the side of Minions, if they are able to win this round, they've got to head back down to that bottom floor. And if that can happen, it can be even harder for the attackers to deal with this. Again, that pressure over towards stock, that wall is going to get opened up, forcing Interlude off this position. And Glock's going to be able to clean them up quite quickly because they played a little bit too aggressively over towards Janet's side. As a result, that means that the stock side's open up. It means Glock can go in. But I think Minions have realized what I was talking about. They think they've got somebody down below ready to try and deal with it, just to keep an eye on it. But as Northy finds that kill onto Mercs, they're able to keep that player advantage in hand. 1 minute ticking down off the clock, and SilentFamily, they're going to look to try and get match point on this one. The damage of the burn comes out onto XJ. Glock's going to walk into the frost mat. They're going to try and res, but it's too late as Northy's able to find a second kill.
A negative conclusion as Sanji's left in a 1v3, but not again. A double kill is dropped. It's left down to these 1v1s. Do we make him happen? Or are MG Minions going to square up, play together, and not allow it to happen? It's 40 seconds, and that's plenty for Sanji to get that Capitao gun out and start swinging at operators. But it's going to be Evil Archie to deliver the first and final elimination here as MG Minions, they bring it back for 1, and they need just 1 more to get that nice 5-5 lead going on, as balance should be established, and it needs to happen on the fly for MG Minions. But look at what happened to SilentFamily. Yet again, leaving it down to these 1v3 situations where you expect a player to clutch is not something you need to look forward to. Play as a team. Don't allow these mistakes to happen. Yet again, it was constantly spread out between the team. We had a striker going over to top main, getting frost matted, someone from behind getting killed, leaving it down to the square player to have it all up against them. And the odds, well, they definitely spoke, and with it, it's going to be MGM or MG Minions taking a tactical timeout. I do believe it's just going to be a bit of a rehost. Maybe a player needs to leave. Maybe it's a skin, whatever the case is. We're now on to round 10, and we're reaching those double digits here, Creedy.
Yeah, so we're reaching this point where I feel like a lot of these players are really starting to show up and see why they're in this position. Like Archie and Jugo, I feel like these players, when we look towards how this is going down, I feel like they're really starting to step things up. They're really starting to isolate these key positions that they can push in. But again, like you say, it's so close at this point. It's 4-5 as it stands. As a result, this means that, again, SilentFamily, they need to get this round because if they don't, then they even things up. If we do see Minions win out this round, that means they have to go back down to open areas, something they haven't been to before, something that SilentFamily might be prepared for, but not know exactly how Minions are going to want to approach it. I feel like this is really the kind of must-win round for the side of SilentFamily. They keep that lead, they keep that mentality, and they don't stop themselves from evening up. They don't lose that lead at all.
Yeah, they weren't able to get back into the groove of things, especially that SilentFamily. They had a
Mm.
really good early start. Now going towards this mid match, it's really simmering down. The charts are stockpiling, and without it, MGM, they're having a game, they're having a blast, and yet again, returning what Silent Family delivered to them, opening up that package and receiving it with happiness and joy. Now, it's close to the score, it's 45. It's without a doubt that whoever reaches the sixth round here is going to be at a huge advantage because,
Mm,
yet again, it may be a best of three, but whoever claims this first map, if they claim the second, it's over. There are many second chances upcoming after it, and you're in a safe position. You're in a bit of a safe, tight corner. Although when you get to that decider, it starts really questioning things. How are they going to go? Now, keeping that in mind, it's been really great how both of these teams have not only done much uncommon things in the competitive side of things. If a
yeah.
team has a strategy, they normally stick to it very strictly. They don't use operators as Vigil, Zami, Goyo, you name it, like really strong operators, if not necessary or if it's not included in their strategy. And these teams, they take them to heart, they accept them with open arms, and just let them go.
Yeah, no, I feel like as we might be getting back into this game, because we do have all the players in the lobby, I feel like the big thing for me is on this attacking side is just like you say, just not falling into that pattern of repetition because they say they got in that situation. Jugo went huge. I mean, it just speaks for
Oh yeah.
itself. But they need to have something a little bit more than that. They're not going to come rely on Jugo getting those kills every time. They're ice. Yes, Jugo's spotting these situations, and I've seen it from Sinji quite a bit as well. They're realizing that these are weak spots in the defense that they could push in and take control of and really start to drive home an advantage. But there needs to be a little bit more. I feel like we're relying on that a little bit too much as we get to this round 10 stage. Moving forward, I feel like if we see maybe Timu or Glock really start to open up, especially Glock on the attack, trying to be that entry operator, they've done a good job so far, but I feel like they need to do more. Then we might see us hitting that match point. If not, I do have every confidence in the defense on a basement site like this without a Monty on the board to really, really be able to lock this down.
Yeah, I think we can keep it in regulation that MG minions either get to that seventh round before Silent Family claim a single one. Although the match points, the thought of it in MG Minions' mind is probably not going to be quite happy. It's not going to be something they welcome. And Silent Family, maybe that's going to be a bit of a scale towards them. Although we're having to see that in the meanwhile, though we head to round number 10, we're after this type of tactical timeout. Hopefully the teams, or tactical, whatever timeout it was a timeout nonetheless. And hopefully these teams talked it through. They get their strategies back up and running. And in the meanwhile, had a bit of a change, a bit of a change of heart of how they want to go with things. And MG Minions, they are walking this type of retake strategy. I absolutely love bringing the Vigil because at this point in time in Rainbow Six Siege, the roamers aren't necessarily roamer operators. We have the Vigil, we have the Oryx, but yet again, normally we just have a Dark Roam, someone who
Oh
can also bring
no.
strategies. Oh, that's down. Okay, this
Yeah.
is bad.
I talked about how I really want Glock to step up as a fragging operator, and with Ram, that's a perfect operator to do so on the perfect kind of site. They can get above, they can be prepared for any roaming setup that we see by getting that verticality done on that CEO. That's not going to happen. In fact, it's going to be Archie the first of all and give the cameras to Mercs, the South Korean counterpart. Going to take that information off the board and gives the attackers so much more to work with because now this run game just got a lot easier to deal with. They've got the verticality being dealt with. They've got the cameras on that the defenders have. And as a result, they can see what happens. They can see if this player over towards that archive side is going to back up or if someone's going to come up those main stairs. 2 minutes on the clock. The Butch goes in, tries to deal with the utility, and just get Silent Family the opening start that they need. As the Doc V Skank does start to come through, I feel like Interlude is going to feel quite a bit of pressure here. And that's going to be exactly what happens. Jugo looking to kick things off. Will spot one player, finds Interlude. Are they aware of the second? Well, Spiny gets a kill onto the attackers. It's going to be enough at this point here, Bob.
Looking to transition it back down to a 3v3, we still have some roaming present, not only from XJ9 here, also I do believe it's going to be Northy slowly making his way approach upstairs, and of course, trying to corner and shut down anyone upstairs is going to be quite difficult, but Jugo, he has no absolute difficulty with it. He gets those chances rolling in with him, just jumps down into sight. He goes absolutely aggressive and gets himself the third in the round, looking for the pistol kill. He attempts it. In the end, though, Greed is going to be getting to him. Northy finishes the job, but Marks, he's there swinging corners and able to put a back pat on the teammate. And we've loved seeing here the Doka being called. Not only has his ability been absolutely beautiful, at the same time, using the Dokkaebi, you saw the Swampy come out, and of course the Vigil. He wants to finish the job. Well, it's quick-paced, and McCree's, he needed to be fast on his feet, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what he did. Punish the Vigil and Archie very quickly off the board, which puts so much less of a threat on this roaming side when clearing it as an attacker, and at the same time, SilentFamily, they get themselves the match point.
Again, all the information that we're seeing coming out from those photography scans, from those cameras being taken control of, and then the gadget being used as well, meaning that SilentFamily, they were comfortable going for that execute. They were really happy to do that. And Jugo was just feeling confident. Again, when I say it, if Jugo is given that opportunity, they will take it. That's exactly what they did. Now heading onto this bottom floor, I really do not want to see Archie trying to go for that spawn peak again. Yes, like I forgive last round, but you can't afford to give it away this time. You're on match point. You know that if you lose this round, you go a map down. And that is the situation you do not want to be in. Like I said, no SilentFamily want to go win their map, obviously. But for the side of Minions, if they lose this and we go on to Nighthaven with a situation where I feel like if they're giving away kills like that and they're going into the next map on a disadvantage because of stuff like that, I feel like that's going to have a massive mental impact when we do start looking towards that next map. That's my big worry. Now, though, I feel from the attack, I think they just need to get a little bit more of the same. I know we said about repetition, we don't really want to see it, but gotta look again. There's rumors on this top floor. The question is the droning going to be done? Is Mercs going to be aware of Archie playing in stock? No, they're not. They're going to be taken down. And as a result, that means the first pick will go in favor of the defense.
And that's yet again cutting corners here for SilentFamily, as information, it just wasn't there. It wasn't there on defense, and it's not now on attack as they look to claim yet another back. They fought out Evil Archie earlier, so early. They got him out in an instant, and now he sought revenge and definitely got it. Although right after, it's another joining him. It's going to be Spiny onto Timu. He finds the case, and he definitely puts it down. A 3v5 established so quickly is just a very negative lead for SilentFamily. They're completely cornered, and now looking to reclaim what they lost, but Interload, he's right now stuck in a corner. But what's the case here? It's this roaming presence that MG Minions have put up. SilentFamily, they can come at him as much as they want, but they're going to be the ones trapped into the strategy. Jugo, he does find Interlope, but in the end, you lost so much time, you lost so much players, and now you're forced to a one-sided rush, basically on the server side.
Yeah, now they can go for something else, but Archie's going to be able to find the kill, which is going to highlight exactly what I wanted to talk about. Jugo walked into the trap. Glock has an answer, takes down Spiny, but now Jugo needs to make their way to them. They're going to push in that square. They are going to get down by that Vigil, and now Glock has to try and get a refrag and has to make sure that when they go for this execute, they're able to find that kill. They're confident. The flashbang goes out, and it flashes themselves. A minute left on the clock, so not really pressure at the time at the moment. But these roamers still have a lot of map control. Glock feels like they're just kind of walking between, trying to move between the chess pieces here, and they're not going to be able to make it happen. They're going to lose it out to the hatch. And as a result, that means that Minions are going to stay in it one more round.
Yeah, being so rough around the edges is not the way to win this out, SilentFamily. It's your map. Keep that in mind. Why would you lack droning? It's the key part of gaining information as an attacker, and that's exactly what you're missing. Leaving Archie to just go about it is not the way to go with it. And Jugo's, well, he's been getting pick after pick after pick, but in the end, relying on so much on this one player. I mean, look at Jugo. He's basically at the point of dropping a 20 bomb. It's without question that he is fragging out, but that's the mistake. You need to spread those kills out between the team, have the information working with them, and not lose your Dokkaebi in the very early phase, because the gadget is that strong. It would help out so much, and imagine how much easier it would be if you kept the players, kept the gadget, kept the information to yourself, and cleared it out all nice and safe.
See, here's the thing, Bob. They walked into the kind of trap. They walked into the lair of open area. Because Jugo wanted that kill, wanted that refrag, they walked into a situation where, in a 3 versus 4, the defenders had every advantage. And walking into that open area meant, like we said before, it's so difficult to walk out of that situation. Because it happened, as soon as Jugo walked in, the rest of the defenders were able to kind of encapsulate them and just kind of surround them. That meant, in the situation we saw, that it was very difficult for the 2 attackers remaining to actually try and make that execute once Jugo had walked off. Now, though, Jugo isn't going to have an opportunity to talk in this round, as another spawn peak will come through. And that's going to be XJ9 taking the IQ off the board as we do start what could push us to overtime if this round continues this way.
Without a doubt, SilentFamily here are looking to finish it out. With the performance that's been going on towards this late match, it's definitely not complimentary. And with it, I think they just want to take off the risk of losing into this overtime, the big Bo's Max OT. Now, without a doubt, looking at these window play, look at the aggression being brought about, but it's punished, and a punish right after it. The positioning of the Claymore is going to be a bane to none other than Timu, who's taken alongside with a player rushing out. That's going to be Northy. The Echo now off board, but at the same time, you lose the IQ, or rather, the Ash, and another run out from the Frost, connecting those bullets a bit slowly, but in the end, Mercs punishes. What were those shots?
How do you not win that? How do you let that happen? I hate calling out players, but Interlude, that might just have been the game. That might have been the map, because now a 3 versus 3 situation, that Ace feeling confident, going to want to take these gunfights. C4 is on the board, but nobody. We will try and get that kill, but it's not going to happen. Half the round left, and Mute is sat down below. Will get pushed out by Glock, and now the player advantage means that the attackers can go for this execute. They don't have to feel like they're on that back foot, because they are not. And now, as the Ace charges start to go off one more time, the execute no doubt going to follow Archie with that Goyo. Vector. ACOG Vector will open up the bookshelf, will find a kill. The case goes down, and now in a 2 versus 2. This might just be the change they need. But as Sinji walks in, finds that player over towards bookshelf, that kill comes in. And now it's all down to Archie yet again in the 1v2. They have to stop the player from rotating across. Finds ahead of Sinji. It's all to do now for Glock to stay in the game. They're going to have to deal with Archie, and Archie knows exactly where they're going to have to come from. The push comes through. The M4 gun doesn't get it. The Glock Vector is going to push us through to overtime, Bob. That's going to be Archie keeping the minions in it in such a massive way that they really shouldn't have been pushing us to overtime.
My God, I think all of our hearts were skipping beats in that round. It looked like SilentFamily were going to be winning in regulation purely because of MG Minions' greed. They were jumping out windows time after time again, and yet again, the first jump out, it worked out purely because of the Claymore positioning and the players too. In the end, though, those Frost shots, absolutely diabolical. Yet again, like you, Creedy, I don't necessarily want to call out players for missing shots, but if you're going to be jumping out of windows, at least back it up. At least have some sort of confidence behind it, because in the end, that punish could have been the end of not only your first map, but maybe the entirety of this best of 3. It could have resulted even in the elimination of the season. That's the danger you have to put in mind when going for these plays. And SilentFamily, they're trying to play safe. They're trying to punish. In the end, though, MG Minions, in the end, still get away with it, claim their round, and now it's overtime.
Really? I mean, well played coming out from especially Archie and Sinji at that one, because that was very, very well played to bring it back. But again, I feel like just a couple of things that really caught us off guard. Now, just take a look at this replay. Let's just see this exact gunfight coming out. I would expect Archie to win that one, but it's just the positioning that came down beautifully. That was a 2 versus 3, and it all really came down to Archie. Opening that bookshelf side, playing ready for meeting, they were able to find this 2 kills off the board. They were able to push themselves back to this site. The thing is, going back to this site, Archie, that was a little bit too close. They didn't win the round before it, if my memory serves. For me, as we come to this round, this point, yes, they have the opportunity to lose a round and maybe come back again. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like we should maybe be going downstairs. It was a lot more comfortable in how they were able to deal with the attackers.
I don't know. Maybe MG Minions want to have a second round of jumping out windows and missing shots.
No,
we're gonna have to see.
That shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't. At the same time, I feel really demotivated, and I don't think that people should be relying, yet again, on these clutch plays, on these single players to clutch it out for them. I've mentioned it before, and if it works, that's fine. It's your round, take it if you will, but having so much rounds, I think this is the one match of Siege I've seen the most of these rounds actually occur in the first place. In the meanwhile, though, that's going to be Northy just swinging out onto Timu. He takes him out. Poor Timu has been catching strays, not being able to use the ice charge for a single bit. He does get punished for it later on, though, and brings it down to square one, as it's still this one-man deficit, purely because of a leave, which is just going to be very unfortunate for Minions here.
Yeah, for the attackers, they really want to get this advantage as soon as possible, which means playing aggressively and playing into the fact that they've just had a player disconnect. It is awkward, it's unfortunate, but if you're on SilentFamily, you've just lost those 2 rounds trying to get us to this match point, trying to close things out. that is something that they really just need to take advantage of. Utility will go through, the forest drones will try and clear stuff out, but the mute jammers and walls janitors will stop that from doing the work. Now, as wall starts to get opened up again, we are going to see roamers down below with possible impact nades in pocket, ready to deal with this. Time to get down for the side of, I feel like for the side of SilentFamily, we need to see coordination, especially at this late round. How are they going to deal with a player like Evil Archie as they go onto that side? We're going to find out now as Glock starts moving into that stock area. The frag grenade goes out. They know that there might be a player over towards that meeting and the janitor side, but they're not able to find the gunfight just yet. We'll be able to find Interlude, which means that Spiny is going to rotate over as quickly as possible to get that revive up with the Doc Sim. But it's going to be Archie finding Glock while the Sim doesn't go off. Archie gets taken down. Interlude follows. Now it's all down to Spiny in the 1v3 mob.
The one stim missing is going to be absolutely major. In the meanwhile, Archie, he gets taken off. Now it's left down to Spiny. You said it. It's a 1v3 yet again. And how much time does it need to repeat? It doesn't matter. Sinji swinging out to Janitor. Not only able to claim out Archie, not only that dude who's getting stimmed up in the moment and at time. In the end, he also finishes the job and gets SilentFamily that clutch. Or actually, yeah, it's going to be SilentFamily getting that 7th round. Now looking to finish it off. Yet again, they're at that match point position for a second time in this match. That's 7-6, looking to bring it 8-6 as the player rejoins. And MG Minions, while it was very unfortunate to have a loss of a player, and in the end that could have especially, changed the outcome. It would have without a doubt been helpful. It doesn't matter. The dethrone is yet again MG Minions looking at a deficit and now trying to come back and climb up the ladder to return back to the safe position of the equalization. SilentFamily here, yet again, you can finish it off, but it's up to you if you want to stick to this upstairs rather than downstairs, and if you want to have throwing bodies at the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this was the round that we saw SilentFamily do a lot better than on the base defense. I mean, first defensive round on that bottom floor, they really weren't able to get much traction behind it. They felt like they were playing catch-up. Whereas on the top floor, they really dominated. They were consistently able to split apart the attacking team and just make them work for everything they've got. Now, on the defensive side, this is really SilentFamily's game to lose, because on their map pick, on the OT match point, on that defensive round, they'd be looking to close this out. For me, I feel like the big thing I want to see is I really want to see that smartness when it comes to the late round. I mean, for the side of Minions, they haven't been able to take the lead at vods yet. So if they can get this round, they can get that equalizing point. If you go into the defense, I feel like that's going to be massive for them, especially going on to Nightmaker.
Yeah, it will definitely. And at the same time, if they claim this map, SilentFamily already having trouble keeping up with them in the first place. I wonder what's going to happen when we go on to Nighthaven against Minions and their own map. That's already a threat to keep in mind. And in case you do end up just completely whiffing there, SilentFamily claim this map. So you can at least have then a chance at the equalizer, or in the end, that decider that's going to be Consulate. Something to really balance things out, get your tempo up and running, and let you ride the wave. Now, going off of these windows, we see MG Minions back at it very quick, very fast paced. At the same time, though, losing players. That's going to be one from Mercs. He finds XG9, and he barely returned back to the game. He's already back to 6 foot under.
Yeah, now 3 and 10 not had the most impact for him so far, but that's something that they can try to deal with once we go into the next map, which seems like Glock is going to try and bring us closer and closer to every single second it takes on, finding one or 2 kills. Jugo will take some damage, will be taken down by Spiny, but playing on the windows, as Swingy talked about before, it's a great opportunity to get some kills, but it affords nothing in terms of map control, and the defense are only more aware of where you're going to be playing. Glock is going to find another kill to add to the tally, takes away the ace. Now it's all down to Archie and Spiny to keep ourselves in this. Now they don't have the claymores, so we did see the side of SilentFamily using all the jump out, but we haven't seen SilentFamily wanting to jump out, which honestly, in my opinion, is the way to go. Now, as they rotate up, they're going to have to make this happen. As they start to move up those stairs, Archie has to be very careful. The information comes out while they don't have any ice charges anymore. That information is going to stay there. The ping comes out from Janitor. Glock's able to find a 3rd kill. And it's all down to Archie to try and keep them in it. But Glock's going to be the one to close it down with 4 kills from stock. A very well played round, and one that nearly slipped away from them.
Archie and Spiny in the end not being able to work hand in hand to clutch it out for another round, and Silent Family in overtime go 2-0 with it, claiming their first map, their own map, as they should, and that's going to be back, unraveled, and of course finished up. The first starter, a nice little thing to get his head kicked, and at the same time showing that these teams, they're quite close in skill. They have their strategy, of course they have their cons and their pros, which every team does, to be completely honest, and I'm wondering how that's going to play into Nighthaven. Now, before we get into it, just a small tiny break so we can rest our voices. You can reiterate whatever just happened in this match, and hope to stay tuned for the few matches that we have following up. Okay, that's gonna be awkward, but hello, welcome back. To shortly sum it up, we're going into Nighthaven shortly. In the meanwhile, I'm Puffo Bob, and I'm gonna be joined by the man, the myth, the legend. How are you doing yet again, McCready?
Doing well. Apparently can't win to save my life, but we're doing good. I mean, I really enjoyed that bank game. It was really,
Yeah.
really exciting to watch. I mean, there's some hand on heart moments at that point in that game, and it just really delivered. I'm really excited to see what we've got for Nighthaven. The big thing is for me though, Nighthaven is a map that teams have started to come to a bit more. I mean, I feel like Bank and Nighthaven definitely feel like outliers in terms of maps, but I do kind of worry for the side of Silent Family if we do end up seeing our third map constant. Now, I know that sounds weird considering we've just seen them just win it out in overtime. In fact, not even conceding the lead once, just only getting equalizing and then getting that win again. But because if they lose it out on Nighthaven, if they're taking us all the way to that third map, by that point the mentality might not be there. And I feel like there were occasions on Bank where they did get lucky. I mean, we saw players jumping out that shouldn't have been winning certain gunfights. We've seen or should have won gunfights but weren't. We saw disconnects coming through that gave a little bit of an advantage that well, it really can't be helped at the end of the day, but you don't feel good about it anyway. Moving forward, I feel like this is it. If Nighthaven is where we see minions start to really hit their stride, especially on the defense, this is where we could really see things start to crumble for Silent Family. But let's not really get that down in the dumps just yet, because we are going to start this game. We are going to take a look at it, and we're going to see exactly what operator bands we'll see out now. We saw the Monty and that Jackal before. Are we going to see that again, Bob?
Definitely. I think if they don't ban out Monty, it's a no-brainer. Monty is still extremely strong in every single map. Of course, some maps complement him more than the other, especially
Yeah.
Bank. Consulate not as much, but Nighthaven is definitely one of those maps, just like Clubhouse on that Rafters, extremely strong, so I think Monty should be picked off. In the meanwhile, it's going to be Maverick, which is another reasonable ban, especially because this map, just like Clubhouse in sorts of ways, is very dependent on breaches, be it a main breach upstairs, be it one on downstairs. They are all connected to the outside of the map, and with how much verticality, with how much strength you can claim off of these breaches alone, of course, Maverick is going to be the go-to ban because he allows you to get
Yeah.
those breaches no matter what denial is on the enemy team. Leaving the Monty in is going to be followed up by Brava, another interesting operator. Yet again, the amount of information you can claim from him is absolutely ridiculous. So with that, Greedy, we're going to be possibly seeing some Monty plays around here.
Yeah, yeah, I love Monty. But
Says
yeah,
no one.
like you say, watching the side of Silent Family banning out that Bravo, leaving Monty on the board means that, yeah, the Maverick's gone. Okay, that's not the end of the world though, because you could bring Impact EMPs. You can get that wall open and you might have to counter a bandit trick. So the big thing for them is they're going to have to try and get that control. That Monty, it's all about taking space, applying pressure, especially like you said on that top floor. That electrical side or that IT storage side can really just get shut down by the presence of a Monty, and then it cuts off the garage side. Monty and Goyo, both operators with a Vector, and one of them with the Impacts and the ACOG. They're going to be both be taken off the board. This really doesn't surprise me. And you said about how important breaches are on this site. And when you think about how important a mirror is of this map on each site, it really doesn't make it doesn't really come into question why you ban that operator. It makes a lot of sense, and that's why we are going to see them taken off the board. The Ying, again, going to be able to be brought out for the attacking side, and you can see already SilentFamily got a very aggressive lineup.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Of course, Mira, you said it. This is one of the operators that when Nighthaven was even started and introduced at first, Mira was the operator to be the cream of the crop in this map. That's when people really thought of her, that this was her map. In the meanwhile, the second ban, the Goyo, I think this is necessarily purely off of the previous round. And I've been seeing Goyo a lot in competitive recently, especially because of the time waste. You know, you put yourself in a really tight corner, you blow up that Goyo, and you safely move out of the way because no one's going to push through that fire. It's practically impossible to live through it unless you're a 3-speed, unless you're finger boosted. There are only conditions, and those you don't want to take, especially when an opponent is very close to you. Now, these bans, they leave out so much strong operators. It's honestly crazy to me. We have the Monty, the Azami, the Valkyrie, the Tubarao. There are such strengths that I'm going to hopefully see from these, of course, every single player that can use them, and one of them is already in play. We see the Tubarao, and then the meanwhile, Jugo, he's rocking that Nook, which I'm interested to play as well. I'm interested to see how she works out, because yet again, Nook is one of those operators that's slowly being brought up. Yet again, it leaves a lot of opportunities for good plays.
Yeah, now this game, this round, hopefully sound like with the bang. That's currently going on summer window because we love the 5th of November. And I can see a substitution has been made, no doubt, for the Internet of XJ. Very unfortunate situation, but it does mean we are going to find Spot 99 coming in. And at the moment, we're going to take our attention to Spiny, because Spiny's in this IT electrical. They're in a situation that is so tentative, because while, yes, the Legion is down below and is able to kind of put pressure on it, having that Tubarao up above a Spiny means that they are able to stop that breach get taken. That stops the verticality being opened. And now if they get taken down, that means that everything can just open up, and it really forces Archie out of that situation. Now Util will go out, that breach will get opened up, and Interlude will find the first kill to kick things off here, Bob.
As you will, that's going to be the opening in the first round in the second match. And with it, of course, MG Minions look to continue that streak onto a second, maybe onto a third, whatever it is. They are looking to back it. Evil Archie, he dodges out of those bullets, but not for a second time. Hugo, he makes sure that they count, and in the meanwhile makes his advance into sight. Interload, he gets as well. That double kill running, and that's going to be 3, 4 already taken off. Looking for that 5th is going to be the ace. A down up to the Thermite, back to picked up, and leaves it in the 2v4. SilentFamily completely cornered, done and dusted, basically, because with the HP that they have remaining, yes, they have sight, yes, they have the Thermite and the case for the diffuser. It's still such a rough position to be in. Either you back up or you go against these gunfights. And MG Minions, although they do seem aggressive, they're not necessarily taking risks. And Spiny, he gets one, and with it, it's going to be a hand-to-hand kill as MG Minions here start us off.
Yes, shutting down the knock there in that situation. Jugo, if there's one player you can expect to ace in an ace clutch situation, it's going to be Jugo based on what we saw on Bank. That's not going to happen, though. Only 1 kill for the attacking lineup on that one. It really all started to fall apart as soon as that first kill came down. The Interlude being in Rafters and nobody dealing with Interlude, that was where that round really started to get caught off guard, because we saw Glock trying to push in that garage wall. Nobody was on blue stairs to pressure the Frost. As a result, Interlude was just sat there comfortable, able to hold these angles, hold these gunfights, and most importantly, win them. And that's exactly what they did. Now, they haven't won the top floor. They run the middle floor. The tertiary bomb site has just been won, Bob. So now they're going to head upstairs. And do you want to know the best thing about this upstairs site? It's like reading on CAF. It is a top floor defense until the last 30 seconds, isn't it?
Yes, it is. With a bit of a pinch of salt with that main breach. Keep that in mind. This is a map that purely relies on it, and then with it, we have to consider it. Bring out the Cade, bring out the Tubarao. It's a nice little dualism between the two, and same goes for the attack. The Ace, the Thermite, maybe some impact TMPs, or just a dedicated Thatcher. It all works well, it all works fine, and even though MG Minions bring out the Warden, it seems like SilentFamily, they can want to have them completely blinded and fooled. Mercs, he's on that Ying, and not only on the Ying, but it's a bit of a question for me onto bringing that shotgun, which personally, you know, I don't judge, but Ying has an excellent LMG, so I wonder what the thought behind it is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it can have a lot of aggressive power for it, but with a shotgun, it can really catch somebody off guard. If you're in the right situation, the right point, at the right time, it'll really open things up. It is a very high risk, high reward. But with the flashbangs, it puts things a little bit more in your favor. Now the first gunfight comes out as Jugo's able to find Northy, takes them off the board. The fact just staying alive means that breaches are going to be able to get opened up. While that room kit does go through, connector can open, so can main breach. The Candelas start to go through. SWAT will be taken down by Mercs, going in with that shotgun that you judged, and they've proven exactly why they wanted to bring it out. So now the Candelas going off the warden has naturally popped their glasses. But the thing is, because of that, that means that the click was heard. Mercs gets another Candela out, goes to the swing, finds a kill, and 2 minutes left on the clock, and only 2 players defending.
Merc shutting me up with that double and continuing on with Spiny getting an IC4. It's an opening here for Minions, although they need 2 more to equalize that out and 2 more to finish out their first round. The plant is going down, swings are 2. The Candela starts slowly charging on, but Jungo, he gets it, and with it, Evil Archie is now off board. It's a nice little comeback. SilentFamily do claim it, and with it, in the end, it's a little equalization. Very early on, we expect to see those, and that's exactly what we get to. Now, for now, it has been really interesting to see as well. Of course, I guess I will never be judging Ying's shotgun ever again in my lifetime, and never will it happen. One thing you mentioned, McCready, here is the fact at the start you said the Thatcher was alive, but the Cade was killed. That was
Yeah.
such a huge issue. You leave the denial, the main denial of breach, to allow the thermite to get it through, and with the 2 brow being already cordoned enough, probably from all other angles, it just allows for an easy breach, and with it, it's easy access to site.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, with that K being taken off the board, like you say, it just opens everything up. Now, the attackers, a must-win round, definitely come out there and really put the money where the mouth was, and especially for Mercs. They feel, yeah, Jugo's got the most kills, got the 3K in that round, but realistically, for me, that round was Mercs. They had impact kills, they had the perfect timing just to get those picks, and as a result, things really opened up for the attacking side. Now, they're going to have to do with that magic again. And no doubt that water's going to be brought out, because that could have had gone an entirely different way with the Mossberg shotgun if it was just a little second earlier that we saw Archie put those glasses on. But the Clash is a big change here. Now, we talk about Monty being such a dominating factor. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Clash. Clash has the ability to slow down those attackers and can be very, very dominating. As well with the fact that they also are the only operator whose voice lines can be heard on both teams.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know. Yeah. But having that Clash, that SMG, the barbed wire, the shield as well, and the ability to coordinate C4s, impacts, vertical play that is already prepared and already scrimmed, is something that really can't be discounted for a defensive lineup.
Gotta watch out for Jugo here. Look at him on that Nook. We mentioned it earlier, and it may not have been completely showed yet, although the 4 kills are really coming through in Jugo. He wants to extend off of it. Put another, absolutely counting up, and with it trying to get that 20 bomb for a second time around. And the Nook, with the ability she got buffed, it will be quite deadly. That's opening onto Evil Archie. A trade out, but Mercs comes in swinging and finding interlude. That's going to be a nice little elimination for SilentFamily as they get themselves up. But SWAT here is going to be dropping through hatch. Don't know if it was intended or not, but Northy, that's going to be the Clash. Not even using the shield, going into electrical, taking out 2 and trading himself out for Mercs to finish the job. That's going to be the shotgun, but yet again, it was a risk worth taking, and sacrificing himself is going to be having SilentFamily at a good advantage, as not only is it now down to a 1v1, but it's down to a 1v1 between the Ying and Spiny here. Working with these Azamis that were put and offset earlier, it's down to such a tight position, so much time remaining, which really showed that these players, they take it into action very early on.
Yeah, now you can see Spiny taking these longer ranges. Well, there's a simple reason for that. Look at the gun Mercs has. Again, very, very strong, very, very dominating in those short-range engagements, but as soon as we see this little gunfight coming through, it's all Spiny, which means the utility is going to be the name of the game here for Mercs. They have the Candelas in pocket. They have the ability to get the kills, but they're not going to happen, as it is going to be Spiny closing things down, finding that kill just at the end. And you've got to give so much credit to that swing from the Clash coming out. Because what? Yeah, well, they didn't get their shield out just in time to save their life. That was the game. That was that round ended right there. 2 players caught off guard from electrical, not holding it at all. Nobody watching it to call for the swing. That is a lesson that SilentFamily will not make a mistake. They will not make again, unless they will have learned.
Yeah, I hope they don't make it again. It would not be wise to see it. And although the clutch, it was absolutely great. That's a sacrifice, and not using Flash for her utilities, but rather just the secondary is absolutely comical as we head over to round 4. Now, Silent Family, they're down 1. This is the first time I do believe Minions take some sort of lead besides the very early game. Earlier, yes, MG Minions, they got the first round. They got it around this time, but now they're keeping it up. Now they're not allowing Silent Family to get these rushes and absolute just streaks of rounds going like an adrenaline rush of sorts. Pivoting towards this 4th round as well, we see a change of sight. First time we're seeing it, actually this is the second time we're seeing it on first floor. We haven't seen the defenders go downstairs. I wonder what the question here would be, especially because MG Minions, we saw how aggressive they were earlier and how common it was for them to go for these roam aggressive plays. Downstairs, it really complements that, and I'm just wondering, is maybe a trump card they're hitting, or whatever the case is, they just don't like downstairs.
I feel like they're waiting. They're waiting for the moment that they need it the most. This is a site, like I said, it's kind of a top floor site until the last 30 seconds. Like I say, yeah, there is a caveat of the breaches and the fact that a well-timed rush could really shut this down. But I feel like SilentFamily aren't going to run into them. And I feel like this is why Minions are comfortable with it, because they know how to play the top floor defense. They know what they're supposed to do. I mean, they've just shown that they can do it. Thing is, now that breach is going to come through, the 2-round gadget will be taken off, and the thing is now that thermite charge has been down and it has been activated. They can't pick that up again. That gadget will be lost, because once that K claw comes into effect again, ideally should be able to beat it. And yep, that's going to be taken off the board as the charge goes off for the Cade. And it means that that utility has just been wasted. No more thermal charges in pocket. Only 1 EMP, and that isn't going to really have the impact that you need, because nobody has the secondary hard breach gadgets. They're going to have to deal with Interlude again. This Interlude was such a massive player in that first round that if they don't deal with this Frost and they don't do anything to try and counter it, then they'd just be, I said they'd be stupid. What they have got, though, is a player on that blue window. They are looking to cut this player off and not allow Interlude the opportunity to pop off like they did last time. And now, as they open up towards that blue, over towards Fish side, Swat's going to start feeling the pressure as well. Yet to find a kill as well, actually.
Without a doubt. Now, that loss of gadget is only at the peak of the iceberg. As Interlo, he finds one. Jugo does manage to get some sort of vice versa going for himself, and with it also access to sight. This is huge for Silent Family to clutch it out. They had it earlier and they were at such a great disadvantage, but now it's an equalization. It's fair game. It's even towards themselves. Jugo, he claims a second, although Mercs is traded out by SWAT. A retaliation from Jugo as he gets the 3rd in the round. Absolute spree of kills is happening with him, as with it he could be also looking for an ace first time around, and it is slowly canceled out by Timu. But yet again, it's the point of teamwork, the power of friendship that MG Minions are working against, and that leaves down to SWAT here in a 1v3, looking to claim anyone out. Pings are coming out, so is the information, and as he lacks it for the other 2, all he can do is hope that he gets to that diffuser in time, and sadly, it's just not going to be happening.
No, with 20 seconds on the clock, while they may be able to find a kill onto Timu, they have 1 kill, they need to get 3, and they need to be on that diffuser with 7 seconds left, and with half that time only left now, it is going to be a very difficult situation to deal with. They're going to look for some kills, but they're not going to be able to stop that round really going in favor of the attackers. Now Jugo's ace has been stopped out, and SWAT will find a triple, but that is going to go in favor of the attack. They took control of that side, like they did the first round, by the way. They took control of the side. Jugo was able to find a couple of entry kills, but this time they capitalized upon it in a much bigger way. Archie was shut down immediately, which is huge because Archie was one of those key players on that bank side. Then we saw Interlude cut off from that garage side. They weren't able to go out that window. They had to take those close gunfights over towards that rafters balcony. As a result, they got taken down. They got picked off. They got killed. Realistically, that was exactly the kind of improvements we need to see from a team like SilentFamily. Now, going on to this bottom floor, this is what you wanted to see. You wanted to see a bit of this. So the question for me is, this, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is Minions map pick. With this, how are they going to approach this bottom floor? Because they've been saving it for a reason. They're going to have to know how to play it. So then you're going to need to have that coordination. Now, for me, I feel like if they shut down Mercs quickly, they've got a really good opportunity. Because Jugo can walk in and just get killed. But it's Mercs that's really been the one to open up a lot of these rounds for me. If they pick that off, that's a round done. On the attacking side, though, they're going to focus on getting these walls done, get some verticality, which you can see in the lineup, and most importantly, get this room cleared out with. The question is, do they know about the pulse?
My fear mainly here is SilentFamily's attack. As we saw and mentioned, MG minions, they go off of this aggressive roam, and it complements them, so they work with it. In the meanwhile, SilentFamily, they could work off of it. They go for a breach, and they instantly just start throwing gadgets in. Sometimes teams do that. They completely ignore the roam, go directly for site, and work off of it as fast as they can, so they disrupt this roam. They leave them outside the site, and only 2 players can fight back. In the meanwhile, though, this could be a trap set up by MG minions. We saw, and we already see as of current, how much gadgets they focus upstairs. That's already a shield. We have like 2 to 3 operators roaming, and a combination of the pulse from below is going to be helping out, which means that if SilentFamily approach this downstairs from the upstairs side, it's going to be working against him. And showing that exactly, SWAT starts it off. He gets 1 HP, isn't looking low, is for minions as they just get down to those 4-13 counts. Finishing off one, that's going to be Spine. The Vigil, the Boss G, now off board and looking to claim some nice utility usage. Going for that soft breach with a thermite exothermic is definitely questionable, but as long as they get the job done, they advance towards that round take. And Jugo, he gets a second one. That's going to be a nice one over to Evil, as of course it leaves them in a 1v or a 4v3 situation.
Yeah, now 2 of the defenders are now sat on site in that 2 versus 4 in the kind of defensive site. This is what I wanted to mention. Jugo's going to get that death mark going out onto Swap. This is huge because now they're aware that a player's above and a player's going to try and catch him on the front. Now they have to try and make it to this site, but it's going to be Benz and Mercs able to close things down and put Northy in the 1 versus 4. They find 1 player, they have to look for the second. They weren't aware of the other 2 players dropping, and Timu shuts that down. Very, very well played coming out for the side of SilentFamily. I feel like they had the right things at the right time to keep them in it, because I was very worried about SWAT there going away unheard of and just really turning that round on its head.
How scary that was is honestly crazy. Right then and there, we see Northy. If he would have been patient for 1 more player, that would have been an easy triple kill, by the way. If he waited for the Twitch to drop, go to his right, and just allow these players to be confused looking for where this final bandit is, he could have sneaked up behind and gotten himself a 1v1 spot, although that's for the ifs and buts to answer. And in the meanwhile, we head over to round 6. Now, this is the final one before we swap roles. This is the final one that MG minions have on their defense to prove and get themselves a draw before heading to that uncomfortable, forcible attack. SilentFamily, they get themselves 3. That's comfortable. They can sit back, relax. In the meanwhile, minions, we go back up to this upstairs. It's been a bit of a 50-50 here. I believe 1 round has been won and lost by both of these teams. Not too sure on that. Maybe my memory is one of the goldfish, although we're going to have to see. And in the meanwhile, we have that clash again. Now, Northy, hopefully we're going to be seeing a bit more electricity rather than just gunfight, which secondary, you know, it's not bad, don't get me wrong, but if you're going to be swinging with guns, you have much better options than the clash.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but when it works out, I love a bit of gunfights, so I'm not really going to complain when I see Northy able to hit a couple of sick kills over towards that electrical side. But this really is a must-win round for the defensive side, because if they go into the attack on that 4-2 split, well, we've talked about it before on Bank. It's a very difficult, it's a very good situation to be in. Yeah, you kind of expect it, but if you could be in there, if you go into that on a 3-3 split, that's even better. Because now looking at that, they go onto the attack on a 3-3 split. They know what they want to do. They know what they want to accomplish. That should be definitely within their kind of expectation to be able to do it. So this is a must-win round for them. Again, I'm going to be looking towards SWAT. I feel like they've been kind of the unsung hero of this round, of this game so far since they've come in. Really good positioning at the late rounds. Sometimes it's paid off, sometimes it hasn't. I want to see what they do in this game. But as the 1C4 goes off, no damage will be done. And that is going to be Interlude having to back off and not use that C4. Okay. Reinforcement will go off on that connector wall, and that means that they can just electrify it if they want. But it feels like they're both over towards the connector side, which means they can get opened up. But not before doing a bit of damage to Jugo. Down below, we'll rotate over towards Fish, trying to get the kind of all the pieces in place before the attackers start moving in. They haven't really got much garage or rafters control, and that's what Mercs is going to look to change. As they do open the connector, Mercs looks for the kill. The Candela goes out, and Archie will fall off. But it's going to be SWAT able to find Jugo's Interlude, finding the Mercs as well. And now the attackers have a massive deficit to try and climb back from.
Overstepping in this man count is absolutely crazy, and it's just gonna continue down. Northy yet again with that secondary, absolutely infamous, claiming yet another victim. A little trade comes out, interlude finds one, as of course Spiny is downed in the meanwhile, but it doesn't matter. He gets picked back up in, and that's gonna be the Doxtem, not only fetching up one, but also patching up the second. Absolute fixture on the defense, as of course Timu here is quite crippled. I mean, look at the situation he is in. It's a 1v5 situation, 55 seconds on the count, and with it, it's up against a clash of all characters as well. Not only does he get slowed down, not only can he not fight back, but at the same time, every single odd is against him. And I think that SilentFamily here, they want to step down from this fight. They want to let it converse, and in the meanwhile, just talk about what went wrong and what went right. What do they want to change going into the second half? Because yet again, the first half is a foundation for the continuation of the game. So you want to have a nice little craft when going into these first 6 rounds. Get yourself at least a positive, and nothing of the negative, of course, went on the defense. MG Minions, they secured that. They get themselves a draw, and SilentFamily do too. But it's such a switch up when you go over to the opposition goal. It's yet again that tempo change that happens, and the wavelength is completely reset. Although in the meanwhile, a beautiful shot on the F2. Whips out the pistol, the Clash goes for a bit of a turtle, does a 360, shows the back. In the end, though, Spiny comes swinging, accepts the duel of the pistols, and like in the old Western style, wins the gunfight. And with it, MG Minions, they claim the third round. And now we go over to the second half, McCready.
Yeah, so now looking at that situation, like you say, we're at that swap. I mean, at the end there, the defense didn't really want to do anything until they knew that they were going to win that round. So they didn't want to risk anything. They just put Clash in the face and said, "Ah, let's go get some kills." But again, that kind of brings it to the thing of like they were taking that time just to wait, just to think and kind of work out what's going on. But for me, I feel like I mean, it's going on to the end of the attack. What can you do? You're going on to the defense now. You just got to focus. You got to lock in, and you got to know what you want to achieve. A 3-3 split on the attack, yeah, that's not too bad actually. So they're just going to have to try and roll with it and take it as it comes. Going onto this top floor, I feel like I want to see Minions really start to show why they picked this map. I don't feel like we really saw much on their defensive side, aside from going to that tertiary bomb side. This is where I really want to see things step up. And for me, as well as that, I'm just going to add on here, SilentFamily need to be a lot more aware on these flanks. They don't have flank cameras. They don't have nomad charges on the defensive side. So they're going to need to be a lot more aware of players trying to catch them off guard, trying to sneak up in positions, or even swing angles that they've already swung you from before. I'm looking at Northy over towards that electrical side. They've got to be a lot more careful for things like these, and it's because Minions are going to take advantage. They're not going to forgive you if you mess up.
Speaking of Northy, it seems that MG Minions here are going to be capitalizing of a thing that SilentFamily necessarily didn't. Shields! They used them on the defense, and they're going to continue doing so over towards this attack. The Monty, he's absolutely dominant. You see the Monty shield coming up to you, you only think of how you survive the situation, not even how you kill a Monty or anyone behind him. You just look to survive. It's a survival situation of a predator and prey, and Monty is the predator without a doubt. It's a 3v3, at least the round count is. Now going up a very fast push, you don't need a Blitz to be running up with a metal plate. Monty is sufficient enough. The only difference is that Blitz, well, he blinds and Monty doesn't, but in the end, it's traded out for that full mount that shield brings and the protection.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, though, Interload, completely insecurity. That SilentFamily gets brought upon. Jogo now off the board. That's going to be the mute. A nice little pick onto the heavy fragger of SilentFamily.
Yeah, now Juga takes away, like you said, a massive change to that now as Interlude will find that kill. And it looks like Team Moon's got a position a little bit more aggressively, but with this Monty, like you say, it's not the aggression, it's not the flashbangs that they bring, it's the presence. Look at that doorway, it's so dominating. Yes, Spence knows that there's a player there. Oh no! No! It's all falling apart. D4 TK does find Northy, but the 2 players are going to fall. And Timo has an answer. Now it's all down to Timu in this side. We saw the side of Minions in it before, and they were able to win it out. But now Timu in the 1 versus 3 is going to have to make sure that they can do this. They're going to have to look over towards Swap, because if they can't take out Swap, they can't swing anyone else. They're not even going to get past Archie. And that is the first attacking round in favor of the Minions. And oh no, 1C4 made it go all so wrong.
The only thing I can imagine is happening in their voice call right now is screaming and growling and nothing else. Just absolute animal noises. That is such a huge tie changer because, yet again, you look at the kill feed and probably every single defender was thinking, How did it come to this? What miscommunication caused us to kill our own brethren? And it was pivoting towards MG minions. They claimed the first one in the second half, get that lead back up like they did at the very start, and the 4-3 1-goal deficit is given to them. Not 1 goal, 1 round. A bit of a Rocket League overlapping in my brain. Whatever the case is, though, we need to get the gas pumping for SilentFamily. They've had such a good first start earlier. It's not present. Okay, maybe switch it over to the second half. You may have lost the first round, but now at least continue to strive off of not making as much mistakes, because yet again, it's that T4. We don't like to mention these plays, but they make such huge changes that in the end, it could affect how this match goes in its entirety.
Yeah, I mean, that was the round to get things off the gate. That has given Minions for the first time that controlling factor. They are in the lead, they are confident, they are happy. I look at that and I just can't feel happy for the side of SilentFamily, and look at that round as one they should have, that they did the best they could. They did everything they could, because to be honest, they didn't. The coordination, the communication wasn't there. We saw Mercs go for a C4, which Benz was also trying to go for. We need to see a little bit more. They cannot afford to make another mistake like that, which is why they're going to the top floor, because they know that they can do better, Robin. Well, if they're going to do better, now is the time to find it. Again, the same kind of entry for the side of the attack. They're going to have Monty droning in over towards that connected side, trying to move in, getting the gridlocks in place so that any flankers will be cut off. Remember, Minions, they're very aware of what flankers can do. SWAT was constantly taking that role. Now they're going to try and force out this Raptors player. A beautiful Flores drone will drop out onto Raptors and just drop that player, force that player to drop off. Doesn't actually get anything to work off of it, but it doesn't matter because we're applying pressure. And now that defender's going to feel uncomfortable, especially with taking a gunfight over towards that out connector side.
Fully droning things out, getting an advance of ground enemy while claiming whatever should be yours. These attackers, we see a nice little 3-2 split. The majority of them is going towards this electrical side, getting the breach out, and yet again, that Monty. Stick him to the door, have him be there. In the meanwhile, some floor drones coming out from the behind to get breaches going. At the same time, though, divert some attention. Maybe it's going to be leaving the floors and opening later into the round to get some nice picks, or it's going to allow him to get that much more claims. In the meanwhile, the C4 comes out yet again, and this time, thankfully, it won't be getting the team kill, but it's going to be allowing the team to get a double going slowly. SilentFamily, they bring it back, but not like this. Spiny, he walks in, gets a double traded out by the hatch. In the meanwhile, while Judo, you know, it's a nice little play. You have to get back to site because it's a 2v2 essentially, and now brought down to a 3v1. Glock gets one, swings around in a second with the TCSG. Beautiful gun, beautiful performance. SilentFamily equalize it out yet again.
Yes, they're getting another round just to keep them in that on that 4-4 split, and now they're going to have that downstairs. The thing is, for me, this is their must-win round. If they lose this round on that bottom floor, yes, they get to go there again, but then the Minions, they add that 5-4 scoreline, and you can see they are confident now. Spiny able to just go for that double swing, even though they had a 2-player deficit. This is where I feel like Minions are really starting to hit their stride so super. SilentFamily need to be able to shut it down. If they can do that, if they can get this next round on the board, they get themselves back in that driver's seat. It's a lot more controlling from their point of view, but it needs to be done, and it needs to be done now. What I expect to see is a good bit of roaming. I don't expect to see anything like what we saw on Bank, where we saw a lot of jump outs, where we saw maybe a little bit too much time spent upstairs by the roamers. What I do want to see from the side of Minions, though, because, well, you may remember the predictions are very heavily favoring Minions as things stand. If those people want to get those channel points, if those people want to get those predictions right, then what we need to see is we need to see them being aware that there may be a roam game they have to deal with. Having a game plan in how they're going to counter these roamers. Because if that's something that we did not see really from either team, how they're going to deal with these extended holds on that top floor. If that's something we see from the side of SilentFamily, Minions need an action plan.
What I love here is this type of reconstructing bases that we see. You know, we start into the match. Of course, one is claimed by Minions, one is claimed by Family, and they exchange it all the way to a 3-3. It's a nice little equalization, and in the meanwhile, absolutely inevitable that is going to be happening again, because once you switch those walls, it's going to be completely fresh out the oven. In the meanwhile, though, look at this rush coming in that I was talking about earlier. SilentFamily, they have no response. Of course, the SMG-12 claims its way through, as SWAT is going to be trading it out. That's going to be the Ying trading onto the Warden. No want to counter those blinds, and in the meanwhile, the fuser blinds down, completely disrupting these roamers' play, and now they have to get back in time. At the same time, they have to do it carefully, because once you have to go for that defuser, you're going to be completely challenged by every single player. The SMG-12, it's making its way in again and again. The MP5 claiming onto SWAT as landing bullets. It's going to be a double and a triple, transferring over to a quad for minions as they just completely rush it down. And look at this player, the L85 making its way through and plummeting one after another, getting MG minions that round back.
Very much a round that was going to go in favor of him on the side of SilentFamily. Interlude able to turn things around there and get that quad feed, like you say, just being another thorn in another side for the side of the defenders. Like you said, when they go in, they've got to commit to them. You can see right now that player's on the plan. They can't worry about anything else. The rest of the players are swinging Archie. At that point, yes, they kill Archie, but Interlude has stood up, found those frags, and got another round on the board for the attacking side. Now, that is a round that, thinking about this from the side of SilentFamily, looking to get this back in the lead and get this close down. That is a round that they needed to win. I told you they did, because this round, this one is make or break. If they win this, they even things up, but then they need to head to that tertiary bomb site. But they can head upstairs. The question is, it didn't go amazing, so they'll have to try and do that again. Taking this site, if we do see minions pick this up, that is match point. That puts us on at least for overtime and might quite possibly cause side of constant. If we see overtime, I do expect to go there. I really don't expect to see SilentFamily try this site for a third time. They've got to go top floor, whatever happens. But realistically, they can't afford to slip up anything else, because now the mentality, the motivation has very much gone in favor of the minions.
In reality, they're slowly starting to break under the pressure, folding down. I mean, the 5-4, they lose it, that's match point. That thought is definitely in mind. Now, bringing out the aggression, SilentFamily, they don't back down, and I think I'm going to have to retake down my statement about them crushing down their mentality, because they're at an all-time high. The aggression is still looking quite strong, and with it, it's definitely proving time and time that it works. Some damage early brought on. Now, also delaying SWAT's way of making his way through the building, as he's completely staggered back by these roamers. He doesn't know what to do, so of course he's going to wait for a team. They want to play safe. MG minions, they need to claim this round if they want to bring out that burden onto SilentFamily, not go over to that overtime for a second time, because earlier it didn't end well, so it's not necessary that it's going to do so this time around. Glock, in the meanwhile, he claims the opening. It's going to be onto Interlude, also limiting that type of verticality, leaving it all down to Spidey.
Yes, right. Now with that kill coming up for Archie in favor of the attack to even things out now. Lucas in that 4 versus 4 situation. The roam game is getting done. They are dealing with these players, and now as a result, that's top floor control. You start to look downstairs. Timu is going to be looking back up, however, will be able to find that kill and takes down Spiny. Now, we'll just be looking to be a pain in the backside on the side of the attackers. And as we see Archie run through, it's going to be Jugo finding a kill, putting us in a 2 versus 4. I said that SilentFamily need to step up, and now they're looking to do it. Cassandra finds SWAT, who's been shut down. The dark horse of this game, as Mercs is going to close things down. It's another round in favor of SilentFamily, and a badly needed one. If they don't get another, if they do not get onto match point, they risk Consulate.
How well done was this defense? It's honestly mind-blowing here. I mean, look at the role play we just saw right there, McCready. Not only did the attackers feel staggered, pushed back, and frozen in place, at the same time, they could not even go through the first layer of attacking. They couldn't even reach the verticality. Not only was the buck taken out. Okay, it's the quad kill that came out of nowhere, transferred over to that ace, which basically this whole team collided to get, and forced MG minions to only act as a pile of bodies. As for SilentFamily, it was just a shooting range that round. It was hectic. Okay, there is no other word to describe it, and we head to round number 11 here. Now, yet again, this is that chance. You take it or you don't. You get the 6th round, you can continue it into regulation, win it for yourself, and of course, for SilentFamily, we're looking to flush things out. It has been extremely close to both of these teams, and MG Minions, while they do have a lot more on the line, it's all down to the wire for them. They lose this map, it's done. They are out, and SilentFamily secure themselves a nice little spot for the second phase.
Yeah, while MG Minions aren't out entirely if they do lose this map. Like you say, they do have another opportunity, but they don't want to go to that situation. They know they're good enough to qualify after this game, and they know that they do not want SilentFamily to be qualifying instead of them. So in that last round, we really saw the difference between that aggression when they play into what SilentFamily are expecting, as opposed to when they're not. That rush in that first time on that bottom floor caught off SilentFamily off guard. They weren't prepared for it. They rush, and it's a mad scramble to try and bring it back. That last round, they played into the defense a lot more. Is that going to happen this time? Well, the Clash is on the board. You talked about shields so much, Bob, and now you're finally seeing SilentFamily actually listening out to you. Nothing really massive starting out, aside from Ben's making themselves aware of that Clash up against that Thatcher. Just doing a little bit of passive damage if they can. Hasn't done anything as of yet. Joe comes out and playing in Connector. Going to be a very sick reminder of Northy playing in that kind of side. An electrical. Now Jugo with that breach open is going to be in a very awkward spot, as they have to be careful for this Raptors garage side, but they also have to be careful of IT storage. If that opens up, if that push comes through and they're not aware of it, it's going to be horrible. But if they overextend, they could get picked off from somebody going in Raptors.
You need to get a grasp of things, especially to paint the picture. And Interload, he grabs the paintbrush, he starts getting to it, getting up the pen and writing his own story. Opens it up, and it's going to be on to Joe Gu. That's going to be a great opening. Not only taking out the dog, but meanwhile also limiting that healing factor and that MP5. It's a strong one. A nice little counteract to the Clash, just bringing the Monty down to his knees, as now he's forced to back up. This is a nice counter to the Monty, and a nice little continuation from Spinny as he claims Glock. That's going to be the second into the round. Looking to find the third. Northy here is taking heavy damage, but so is the Clash. SWAT with a double, leaving it down to the final player. The Maestro, the Alda is a strong gun, but it's not strong enough to stop minions here from an absolute screw and get themselves the flawless round.
Yes, a match point here for the side of MG Minions, and now it is all to play for. If they win this round, that is just going to constant. That is everything just put back on an even playing field, and they're right back in the game, exactly where they wanted to be two maps ago. Now, for the side of SilentFamily, if they're able to win this round, they can push us to OT, and they'll be looking to secure another OT victory. But this is not the way they wanted it to go. They surely got to be feeling that round was so close, so tight, until SWAT just opened things up. And I've got to say, this substitution is working out really well. The impact plays that SWAT has been able to find, the little mistakes that we saw. I was talking about in the last game. We need more players being able to just kind of identify weak points and take advantage of it. I feel like SWAT has done that perfectly. And while they didn't do great in the first couple of rounds, it means even more that they've been able to catch up to that 10 kills that we can see them on now. Now, top floor. It looks like we're going to see SilentFamily try this again, because they can't head back downstairs. Do they really want to try the tertiary site? Not really. Which means we're going to go to this site for the third time of asking.
10 seconds to go.
I'm terrified. Okay. SilentFamily here.
5 seconds
They
left.
gave up on the main bench. What we see is a lineup of aggression and death. That's the best way to describe it. We see three dedicated roamers: the Soulless, the Vigil, the Oryx, alongside the Warden if anything goes wrong, and the Azami, which is just a powerhouse of an operator to begin with. Now, earlier we saw the Clash, probably some sort of counteract to the Monty, didn't work out. Okay, that's the Oryx. Maybe even Soulless from below to get those floor banks going, and maybe nice picks along the way. A nice little retaliation for how MG Minions have been playing, and it's fair game. SilentFamily, they need to adapt in order to win. It's a game of adaptation to begin with, and that's the approach to take. Yeah, looking to go off of that. You get a nice little clearage of utility with the floors. That's how you should go about it. Keep the floors on the roof, and in the meanwhile, just have them chuck those drones down. Get rid of those zombies that are pre-placed, as well as pushing defenders out of their comfort zones and right into the lines of sight of your own teammates.
Yeah, again, now here for me, Monty is the one operator we need to see get everything shut down. If Monty is able to keep control, keep that aggression, they can focus the defensive tension on them. That allows SWAT to open things up. That allows somebody like Interlude or SWAT to really start to kick things off. But it's going to be Archie able to find that first kill. The floor is again going to be able to get control and really put pressure on Spine. He's got another one to follow. it feels like Silent Family don't really have any answer as Northeast starting to push in. Connected breach opens up. Archie can just walk in here. And now with a minute and a half left on the clock, Northeast could go for a plant if they want. But it's going to be Spiny and Timo each able to find a kill. And a 2 versus 4 to stop us from going to Consulate. Hugo looks for the gunfight, can't land it. Timu has to make it happen. And they're just not able to. And SWAT is going to push us with 2 kills all the way to Consulate. The much needed sub that was able to bring things back.
And that's what's to be expected. Honestly, no clue what SilentFamily were thinking here. Yes, they brought some aggression. Yes, they brought those roamers. Individual attempt was there. We saw the flying coming out. Although you bring no gadgets, how are you going to delay the time? How are you going to put the pressure of the clock onto your enemies, onto the attackers, without having any ability, any gadget to back it up? All you had were aggression, guns. Yes, that's great. But it's a Monty. You can't shoot the shield. That's the point. You need some sort of counter. And the Oryx, yes, you can dash him back into a corner, although a Monty is always backed up by another teammate, so he can punish you if you do end up doing that. A very big risk here from SilentFamily. And while they did put it all on black, in the end, it was a loss. It was a 50-50, and it didn't work out for a single bit. Although that concludes the second map here, and we're going to be heading over to the decider. You said it, McCready, it's going to be Consulate. And before we get into it, stay tuned, as of course, we're going to take a small little break, as we always do. But stay with us and be ready for the final map.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what is going to be an amazing conclusion to an exciting best of 3 that we've seen so far. We have seen SilentFamily go and pick up bank on the first map, and MG Minions, they were able to bring things back on Nighthaven Labs, and as a result, we are going to find ourselves on Consulate, a map that a lot of comp teams really don't like, Bob, do they?
No, they don't, but we're here, and that's what matters. Not many people thought that we were even going to get to the deciders, seeing as, of course, it was quite a one-sided pick between the predictions, a 76 or something like it. Although, in the meanwhile, while we get the things going, the delay to catch up to us and the players ready back in the lobby and back in the match, let's take a look at the player stat that we didn't have the time to do so earlier. Now, of course, taking a look at MG Minions, we see a lot of KDs, 3 of them positive, 2 of them not, and SilentFamily here goes a similar way, although Rogora is not going to be a player, as well as, of course, on the side of MG Minions, Blakey, I do believe we haven't seen, and Sacred, much of them yet.
Actually, I believe Sacred is actually SWAT. And I feel like SWAT
Oh,
has been the standout player for me. And I think that entry KD says exactly why. I mean, first of all, I want to look at the cost. That's a pretty standard cost. It's a pretty decent cost. But the entry KD, 14 and 5, really, really strong performance. Really, and like I said, I just couldn't not highlight how much of an impact they had in that last game. They found opportunities. They took control. They opened things up. Them and I believe it was I can't remember the actual name. I think it's Illuminators along those lines. I feel
oh,
like
yeah.
yeah, they had a really, really good moment where they would just pick key positions, key moments, and just not be pushed out. In the same way that Mercs would really step up as alongside Juga. And I feel like a map like this is where it's really going to be kind of drawn upon. It's really going to be shown whether teams have that factor where they can do exactly that.
Exactly that. This is Consulate, the third map we see today, and of course, the final one. The big decider who takes home, of course, that qualification, or who goes down a bracket and has to fight for a loss and a qualification as well. Now, it's a second chance going into that losing bracket. It's all fine and well if you do lose this, but with how close these matches have been, with one going overtime and the other one being a round away from it, I'm
Mm.
expecting quite similar results here around for MG Minions versus SilentFamily. In the meanwhile, we get to the bans. We see the Monty Jackal ban that we saw on bank as well, and now heading towards the defense.
Yeah, I'm really not surprised at all about this Jackal because with Jackal, it's a similar map to kind of like Bank in the same way that a Jackal can have such a massive presence in taking away a freedom of movement for a defensive lineup. It's a very comfortable ban. If you don't know who to go for, you get a Jackal out there. Monty and Clash. Well, after what we've just seen on
Yeah.
Nighthaven, that is exactly why these operators have been banned. We've seen mostly for the side of MG Minions, really good utilization of these operators. They wouldn't want to ban them out. No, that's SilentFamily. That is a knee-jerk reaction to the impact that they have had. Most importantly, Northy has had on those shield operators.
Of course, it's also Bank. The one bad band that we had, or actually the operator bands that we had there, were very close. We had the Jackal, and then we had the Shield. There were no shields being played besides maybe a clash like once or twice, and that's when it was always at the closest. That's where the tension was at its highest, and that's where we saw that overtime, which could be also a result in this match, seeing it right now. Consulate itself, we're into the final one. This is going to be absolutely heated between these two teams, and of course, like always, we will not be hoping for a one-sided match. As we go into the first round, it's going to be downstairs. In the meanwhile, we see the smoke, Mira, Warden, actually now Warden, well, Maya. I always get those W's mixed up, the Bandit and the Goyo. Now, Goyo isn't banned, so we're going to bring him back for a map too.
Yeah, another knee-jerk that we saw in terms of bans on that last map, actually, was that Goyo, because we saw some really good moments come out from, I believe it was Jugo, just bringing out that Goyo, especially from Archie as well with that Vector ACOG. It's really an operator that has seen a lot of use, and it really doesn't surprise me in the way it's been utilized at teams for the ban. But after a masterclass like Nighthaven, those shields have got to go for the side of SilentFamily. They can't afford to give anything. And this is what I talked about at the start, Bob. If we don't see this series cleaned up in 2 maps, then we're going to see teams go to a map that, well, the other one might not be confident on. They're going to go and try and take advantage of the fact that the other team might not be 100% on there. And realistically, these teams might not even want to play this map. It might have just been the last map, and they didn't want to play the other one in the map ban phase. So realistically, looking at this, they're going to take every opportunity they can. And for the side of the SilentFamily, they're going to ban out the big problems, which in this case is the shield. They don't have time to counter strat. They don't have time to deal with it. But one thing they do have is an opening pick. Mercs is going to find Spiny and takes away Goyo off the start.
Same time, it's going to be SWAT joining him in the grave. Also, that C4 being used for nothing. You said they don't have time. What they don't have time is to clear out the roamer, so they're going to be getting to it very fastly. Taking out Spinny, that's the starter. In the meanwhile, downing out the smoke. SWAT isn't finished out yet and maybe looking towards that goal, and we see the blood drip down. We see someone on yellow swing out and get that reclaimage. A nice little refrag. A second one from Mercs. A beautiful one with the SMG-12. As in the meanwhile, though, it's Evil Archie. It's Northy in a 2v4 now, complete disadvantage, one-sided battle with time being at an all-time high for the attackers. They have comfortability, they have composure, and with it they look to claim this first round. Verticality is going to be essential here. Evil Archie, you see how he's completely cornered up behind this yellow window. Flash is coming out, he is completely blinded, he cannot peek a single player, and although of course we get the down on the thermite, which I do believe is the diffuser as well, absolutely huge here, we have to stall out for an extra minute, which should be just a bit too much. Finishing the kill is going to be Merc, and in the meanwhile, doing that exactly, we see Benz doing the exact same, and SilentFamily, they claim the opener.
Yeah, realistically, that is a round win for Minions if it is a minute later, because, like you say, they found the kill coming out. Archie was taken down off the board. Archie was the big position that needed to be cleared out for the attacking side with those white pallets. As a result, they got full flash. They got dealt with very effectively by the side of the SilentFamily, and they were able to execute onto site. It was all down to that one player then, and they just got picked off. I mean, realistically, that was a very strong start from SilentFamily. They got in, they knew what they needed to do, they got droning, and they dealt with these roamers fast. Early opening advantage, and they were hitting the site and executing with a minute left by the time that they got that final kill. It's very well played from them, and what felt like a completely different shift from when we were on Nighthaven. But whether it's just luck or whether it's actual coordination and actual talent as a team, that remains to be seen. They've got to give us a lot more to work off, because you've got to remember, maybe some might just not have been a great round, might not have been a round they wanted or really were locked in for. So the question is, how's the second round going to go? The top floor, arguably the harder to defend, but also can be quite hard to attack.
Without a doubt. Keeping that in mind, we also see the Melusi. Evil Archie on it. We've seen the presence of Melusi be quite strong, although not used frequently, which is an interesting fact, and I love getting her back, although that leaves SilentFamily to pick out that non-bad Brava, hack the Melusis, and get the gadget under their own control, which yet again, use of that Brava is so strong. You not only get the Melusis, you get the main cameras, and that's about it, but it's still quite huge. It's an advantage, maybe extra information, whatever the case ends up being, it allows for an easier playthrough, and with it, we go over to round 2. This admin side is going to be, of course, priorities because that's how you can exit the breaches, that's how you get to long dust and make your advancement through. Although the attackers, although they may not be one-sided, go for these window plays. Yet again, the floors on the breach clear, and if everything should be correct, this is going to be a multi-present stage. We see windows open. This is going to allow so many opportunities and open angles for late game, and these attackers are just going to completely shut down all rotation of MG minions.
Yeah, exactly. And with this now, that run out comes through from SWAT. They're able to find bangs and get that opening start. They can rotate back to side. They can rotate away. And now the attackers, they really don't have the time or the resources now. They're a player and a minute down. Actually go and try and deal with that. All they can do is try and escape from that C4 that comes out. Northy is going to be able to find Mercs as well. SilentFamily, no real answer just yet. They're going to stay on the windows. Something that minions were guilty of doing on Bank. As SWAT's able to find another kill, Jugo will get taken down. It's all down to Timu and Glock. And the question is, do they even try and go for this?
Honestly, no. I think that, like SilentFamily did earlier with the Twitch F2, I do believe it was, that just waste out the time talking through, but in the end, you want to get some frags, and in the end, frags are going to be brought, but not for your side. Interload, he claims it. It's a 5v1, basically a flawless confirmed, and in the end, SilentFamily, while they do lose a round, it's quite honestly not much of a surprise to see that this 1-1 score being brought about. It's the third time out of all 3 of these maps that we see it, and I think it's going to continue going on to it. Shots are fired, the shotgun comes out, claiming this mirror, losing the flawless, nice little type of cherry on top for MG minions, but shortly after, Northy, the verticality, there comes the shotgun, absolute blast from the past, and with it, it's a 1-1. It's back to that score, it's back to square one. We've seen it time and time again, and it's honestly, I think it's going to keep repeating this type of 2-2-3-3 repetition, although, as we head over to round 3, both these teams really bring a lot of aggression, and with it, I plan to see more of it.
Yeah, I mean, going in that first round, I feel like it was worth spot. Again, it's just kind of that driving factor. They realized, okay, well, they go for an admin take. I need to be there. I need to apply pressure. That's exactly what they done. They got the kill. And realistically, there, SilentFamily just stalled out. They stalled out. They tried to avoid a C4. They were peeking gunfights. They weren't really coordinated on who was holding what and how they were going to try and deal with this admin side. It felt like, yeah, they just let minions run away with it as soon as they got the opening pick. Now going back down to this bottom floor, I mean, now here's what I want to see. It was so methodical, so clean the first time. Is that what that was? I mean, are we going to see that methodical clear the room, clear those opening picks come through? Jugo getting that verticality done, and Glock and Mercs both getting the information for when this execute takes place. Realistically, I feel like this is where minions could just turn around and just stunt all the momentum that SilentFamily may have had. Really just put them on the back foot.
Yeah, at the same time, while we do love the use of these strong operators, you know, you have the Demos, you have the Dokkaebi on the attack, whatever. I have been loving the Wamai. This is an operator that I don't see picked commonly at all, and it's one, although I may be missing out on such opportunities, but I love him. The gadget used it's a nice little counter to not only Ying and such operators, but when smoke plants are coming down, flashes as well, just completely dropping all at once, and it's too much pressure to take, those Wamai gadgets release it all nicely, and you're left to sit back. Now we go into this attack. Yet again, we see MG minions, they are taking this upstairs floor for a retake. We have 2 players there, while also some roaming presence against SilentFamily on the first floor, just to not allow them too much comfort and too much security for themselves.
Yeah, now looking over towards this, Deimos and Dokkaebi scans coming out for the defense, which is going to be putting them under a lot of pressure. But as that breach does open up, Sweeney is going to be saved out by Archie, who's able to find that kill and take down Mercs. Dokkaebi's dealt with, but Glock has an answer. SWAT has one, as Glock's able to find the second onto Archie. And now a 3 versus 3. This is feeling a lot closer than that last round and that first one put together. Both of them are stomps. Now the attackers and the defense both have an opportunity. Now, as the demo scan does cut out, it will look to find its target, but you've got to remember Glock is very much separated from the rest of the attacking side here. And the breach being open doesn't really mean anything unless there's actual pressure being applied from it, which means that they're going to have to split to try and go for this execute. And in doing so, they really put themselves in difficult situations. Again, SWAT's going to be in a very awkward spot as they need to make sure that they are not being spotted, that they're not being given anything, any situation in which our Deimos could get that vertical kill. There's another death mark goes out, surely going to be used for that final execute. Interlude's going to walk up these stairs. We'll be looking for the kill. They know the Gamers is there. Going to look for the kill. They get Glock, but do they know about the player in piano? I don't think the piano player knows about them. Going to be rotating through. Timu finds the answer and evens things out as Dem and Ben's going to push in.
You will. It's 2v2. Very equaled out. Although with these swings, anything could happen. It's a risk for any play you do, any swing you take, and any risk you want to have at. And a nice little wallbang is going to be coming out from Benz. That's a great punish onto Northy as he's being just a bit too careless when making extra holes and extra opportunities for him to be shot at. And with it, SWAT, he goes from the downstairs. He thinks he's being sneaky, but at the same time, this is why we established that verticality. MG minions, they lose it out, and SilentFamily claiming the second round in a row. It's a 1-for-1-for-1. Back to back to back. These rounds are changing and ping-ponging between these two teams as MG Minions now looking to probably refund it and get themselves a nice second round as well. Although, I'm hoping SilentFamily can actually break this curse we've been seeing and get a 3-1 going. Maybe a 4-1. Whatever the case is, of course, I don't want to see a one-sided match yet again. That would be unfun. That would be uncool. But MG Minions, if they step it up, of course, it's going to be going in a similar fashion. We get to this 5-5 score, and then it's either regulation or overtime.
The thing is, though, you really don't want to see that kind
Yeah.
of stomp, because you feel like both teams have definitely earned a much stronger, a much closer game than that, and I feel like we've earned it as well. Now, we are going to see the Fishery Bomb site, this piano site is going to come through. Again, we're going to see a lot of emphasis on vertical play and how to kind of counteract it. So Interlude isn't going to be on that top floor, they're going to be playing down below. The benefit of this is, as a pulse, even if that top floor is taking control of, when the execute does come through, they can still drop down to the bottom floor site. They can drop down to the basement, use that C4, and hopefully stop the plank going down. So a lot of that floor is actually destructible. As a result, they kind of what Interlude does and the way that they direct themselves and the rest of the defenders is going to be crucial. But don't make no mistake, a lot of this focus is going to be that top floor. It's going to be on clearing out the Goyo. It's going to be on clearing out all these players upstairs. They're going to have to be dealt with. You simply can't avoid it if you want to go for the execute. Jugo's going to try and is going to take a little bit of damage for it.
Yeah, I don't know what the reason behind that is. Maybe just some sort of spawn peak. I see that as the most possible outcome. Although, it's not much. It's nothing major. You can still survive a bullet or two. Although, would have been preferable sticking to that 100, but I guess 69 is a more preferable number in this scenario. Going in, the attackers, yet again, you said it. They go for this verticality. It's an instant thing because when you play in verticality, of course, if the defenders own it and if they have it claimed, it's impossible to get that plant down. It's impossible to get the bomb tick. 2 minutes in, we have some sort of approach, and while taking a horizontal fight, I see SilentFamily, they apply so much pressure, but at the same time, they spread themselves out, which allows MG Minions to relieve this 1v2 situation and get themselves in a nice little spree.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good thing to be able to do what you said, which is kind of apply that pressure and spread it out, as long as you can take control and capitalize very quickly. If you're not able to do so, well, now suddenly you're in a situation where the defenders know where you're coming from, and Archie's able to find a kill onto Timu. As a result, now that top floor take is going to have to be the key part of this, because they can't execute on the site, especially not with Interlude on the board still. And then, of this is fine. They're going to have to look at this execute. They've dropped down. I don't think Interlude spotted. They might know that there's a player over towards Visa. Don't seem to know that at the moment, but they know about that player on the cam. They are going to try and be like a snake, waiting to strike at the perfect second. Now, Benz will go in, will find a kill onto Northy, but this is where you're going to see Interlude start to execute. As soon as that call comes out from the push, that's when they're going to swing out. That's exactly what's happening, and a dinner bell for the defenders. This block starts to look towards piano, starts to move in, goes in the barbed wire, takes the damage, starts moving towards Spiral, full sprints, isn't able to find Glock, and Interlude each find a kill, and with Mercs down as well, it's all down to Jugo, and as they go in, they try and take the damage, they're not able to find the kill, they'll get swung out by Archie, and another round flows in favor of the defense, and a 2-2.
This is what I mean when I say SilentFamily spread out. Yes, like we mentioned, of course, pressure is great. It's almost perfect to overwhelm your enemies, but the issue is when they spread out too, it's the defense. They're playing in their side, it's their building, they have the odds against you. So with it, you go into these 1v1s where people are swinging from corners you didn't even know existed in the first place, which just allows for these 3, 2, 4Ks to come out of absolutely nowhere. Minions, they take it, and this has been quite a fashionable way of going about it,
Attackers need to
completely
locate
shutting
and
down
defuse
an
the
entire
bomb.
attack in a matter of seconds. And with it, SilentFamily, we're back to that 2-2. Nice little equalization as SilentFamily's dethroned from that lead they had prior to this round. And with it, we go upstairs yet again. This is where it was such a dominant performance earlier, of course, from MG Minions. And I think, of course, if we go to it, it could be a nice little 3-2 score, get themselves that first lead into this deciding match.
Yeah, no, this is a match fun story. Realistically, I feel it's one of the more balanced ones for teams. Really, because at this situation where it is, it's currently sat at, yeah, the stats say 41%, 41.7% attack decided, 58% defense decided, which is a massive kind of difference. In terms of rounds played, that's only 16 rounds. And when you think about it at the moment, it's been quite balanced. So I feel like both teams have that kind of equal footing at the moment. But the question is if there's any real impact in that, then this is where we'll really see it. Now, again, a lot of gunfire ready to start things off. No damage actually going to take place as we do look at a lot more Goyle information utility going down. And I've got to give them a lot of credit. I really like the fact that minions are able to just take control of some of these situations and really make them their own. Now, though, with this attack onto admin's side, Jugo is going to find that first kill. Very much aware for an aggressive play coming out from the defense. Maybe not going to deal with the one they expected. Jugo falls to Nordy, though.
Not timing that grenade perfectly is going to be leaving you death and stranded. Mercs, he gets one. Glocks, he follows up with the second. That's going to be the pistol in hand in the Western style. He makes it click through and through again. It's a 3v2, although considering the Ash is on 4 HP, I would even say it's a 2v2 here. Of course, one bullet may be enough, but with the R4C in hand, it's definitely a deadly tool to go up against, especially when the Ash is behind you or in a position you may not be. No, trying to tail off of this 3v2. Get yourself a 1v1. Whoever from MG Minions can claim upon it, get this 2v2 actually officially running, they are going to be in a great position. Although we see SilentFamily, they're really fast on their attacks. They still have over a minute and 30 for themselves, and they have only acquired admin, which means MG Minions, they have the proactivity. They bring it up to the attackers, but it's not working in their favor all that well. Now, Benz, we have the Grim. Not much gadgets on it, but of course, with everything that is in combination, it's still going to be enough information to have you running through.
Yeah, and it does get the defenders to pull back, which is exactly what happened. It's given SilentFamily a little bit more map control and entryway onto site. Problem is they need to be aware of a rack. Again, it's just a rack every time SWAT is able to just get in these situations, cause these problems, and as that plan starts to go down, no doubt going to try and deny it. As it goes for that swing, the player is going to hold that. It's going to be Glock who's going to not in that gunfight. And then as soon as we see that gun through, SWAT's going to try and get it. But Benz is able to find the 2 kills, and it nearly went oh so wrong. 2 players fell on the default stairs, B's the side, and that is going to be, at least for now, Silent able to pick up a third round on their attack. And they make it 4, or do we see another 3-3 split?
We've seen it quite commonly that players tend to go for this rule of, yes, picking up the secondary is a lot faster than reloading, although it's a dangerous situation. Going up against a fully decked and loaded Benz when you only have a secondary on long range, especially in a situation where you can nicely back off, reload that vector, go up close, and make those odds work with you. Not sure what the gamble behind it was, although in the pressure, in the tense, in the action, of course, you're not thinking necessarily with all your might. You just go in and do it because it feels right. It's tense, it's the feeling, it's that type of gut feeling, and although it may not have worked, it was still very close. A nice little trade-out came out from the Goyo, a 1v1 was really close, and they got that 2v2 they were looking for, although they just couldn't execute off of it necessarily. They were kind of stopped in their tracks the second it was a long-range gunfight. SilentFamily, they claim the 3rd round. It's the final one in the first half, round number 6. Looking for that eyes on the prize, you said it, it's the 4th one SilentFamily are looking to claim, and with it, I think they could be making a bit of a difference in the first half, although MG Minions, yet again, that draw, I'm thinking it's going to happen. I am very positive that they're going to make it happen yet again for the 3rd time around, and it's only going to be the second half that decides who's going to be the winner in this bout.
I look forward to this, and I think it does come down to that. Once we swap those sides, how are things going to go? How is Silent going to cope with being on the attack? How is Minions going to deal with being on the defense? That is the big thing for me that I see, and I really expect to see that kind of puts the bow on everything. Again, Judo's going to fall to Northy, playing over towards admin's side, and again, This is going to be the opening pick this time, which means that there isn't a kill in favor of the attack. Now, the nade though and the cut off, very well played. Is going to do a lot of damage to Spiny, but not big to finish them off. As you can see, actually, a lot of the defenders are moving over towards the admin side. Something I don't feel like they've considered. I don't feel like SilentFamily have really considered is the possibility of maybe putting a player like Hugo, who gets picked off at the start of each round on this attack, put them over towards yellow stairs. On that knock, something we saw them do on Nighthaven, something we saw them do on Bank, they were able to get in and just cause problems. Maybe that's something they were able to do in this case. Not going to happen this side, though, because this is the last attacking round. And as they do start to push in, they are going to look to close it down, but Ben's is going to get an answer and gets us in a 4v4 bomb.
Bad news here for MG Minions as they lose one. Is going to be none other than Northy, who started it off, and he's going to be the first victim here for SilentFamily to claim. It's a 4v4 damage exchange. Spiny, he takes some, but so does Glock, as they're both looking at that below 100 HP. Also, SWAT, you're looking at it as well, although it's nothing major to think about as of now. Just get those guns running and gunning, get those aims on sock and on sights, and with it, claim some heads. Pops, we need to find some on the balloons, and Spinny, he gets to it. He finds Timu. That's going to be a nice equalization by Mercs right then and there. The AK-12 claiming ahead of another, and now claiming time. This is the majority that right now MG Minions need to look forward. This time claimage, they've been doing so greatly, pushing into admin, and with it, they've stalled out the attackers. With it, they put on more pressure. They start really stacking it above them, and now it's up to these gadgets. How do you play off of yourself that you built? These zombies are going to be essential to keep yourself hidden, or maybe get yourself a nicely timed swing to get that equalization, or actually some sort of lead.
Exactly. Now, like you say, a lot of pressure on this situation with 30 seconds ticking down and a 3 versus 3. Ben's again on Consulate, really enjoying that 5-5-2 commander, really enjoying taking these close gunfights and really opening things up for their team. Now, with that play advantage, they're going to have to go for a plan. Again, we're going to see interlude spring. Again, Mercs is going to have to cover and finds that pick. It's all down to Archie, and Archie could definitely do this. He had a quite a Nighthaven and quite a Consulate. They had a really good bank, and with Ben's being taken off the board, they're looking to change things now. They know this play, they're going into a crossfire situation. They're not going to be able to win it out. This Glock gets another attacking ground and seals a deal on that first half of Consulate.
One thing to put into consideration, we've seen SilentFamily spread out completely, and this time around, they stuck together completely. We need some sort of mix. Although, yes, they won the round on attack, and they got that 4-2 split, which is all nice and well. Although, when you mentioned McCready, we need someone maybe on yellow stairs, someone to push Visa, someone to be somewhere else than the entirety of that team. That's what SilentFamily was lacking then and there. It was either all completely webbed through the map, with a single player being somewhere completely distant from the others, and this round that we just saw, they all pushed into admin, all together, bunched up, cluttered, and with it, of course, while the MG Minions didn't win, it was still quite uncomfortable probably, and just having someone stick to these windows. Maybe go for a side mission, you know, yellow stairs, Visa stairs. Go from below, start verticals, apply pressure from elsewhere, because that's when it really starts to kick things off.
I mean, I feel like this is now that we're at that side swap, now that we're seeing the SilentFamily going on to defense, this is where Minions really need to step things up. It's going on to the attack, 2 rounds on the board. It's a very difficult situation to be in. Not necessarily because it's more of a defender side of the map, but because of the mentality. They've really struggled this first half, and it really does come down to the fact that sometimes they're not having that little X factor in some of these gunfights, which is what we've seen from SilentFamily. As a result, they're losing these gunfights, they're losing these rounds, and now they're going into that 2-round deficit. That's going to be in the back of their mind constantly. And as they do go in for the attacking side, they're going to have to keep that in mind as soon as they start moving forward, trying to look at moving in, trying to get an opening into this site, and possibly the rest of this game. Now, though, they will just make sure that they keep all that away from them. The util, the drones will start to go through. They know there's a player top Visa, so the nade will try and flush them out. But it doesn't find its mark just yet.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice little spread that we have from MG Minions, and this is what I was talking about. We see some people being over on the rooftop. We see some Visa pressure with the Deimos revolver, which can absolutely penetrate the ground and start delivering such final blows over to Glock, if, of course, he's not standing on a solid surface. Death mark is through. That's going to be the first one. One still remains, and the second one to be charged. In the meanwhile, Visa is taken over, and you have to watch out for these flanks, but SilentFamily, they're going to be a bit too quick on their feet as they find the buck. The Deimos trades it out. That's going to be a nice little 1-for-1 capitalization, although to continue it is where we need to find our steps.
Exactly that. Now, like you say, that player advantage, is going to be evened out as a result now to 4 on that scoreline and 4-4 in the game. Minute 30, we're approaching that halfway mark, and it feels like we haven't really seen much to gain from it from the side of Minions. They have control of admin, but they have just lost a player now, as it will get down. Swap will be looking to try and get in the refrag, try and get something, even just cover to get that revive. It's going to be Spiny, though, who will find a lock, and as a result, get us 3 versus 3. SWAT's going to be able to find that kill, though, that badly needed frag. And as a demo scan comes through, Mercs is going to fall as well to Northy. And now it's all turned around. It's all down to Jugo. They're going to need to get 4 kills to stay in this round. And that death mark coming through, they're going to have the info. It's going to be a gunfight. Northy's going to want to take. But the red team's coming through. The SMG-12 in hand. It is not over just yet. Minute ticks down. The yellow blues come through, and Popo. That's going to be it.
That will be it. You said it then and there, and MG Minions claim the round for themselves. Although I have no clue yet again. SilentFamily, questionable plays. We just have echoes running all across the building in front of guns. And of course, with it, it's no question that they're going to get taken out, leaving it down to that. Also, a down player not being able to get finished, which would have been a huge turnover for SilentFamily. Now, to get things down to business, of course, it's 4-3. I think MG Minions can still claim around, get themselves 4-4, maybe even 5-4. What I haven't been seeing from these two teams are tactical timeouts. Where are those at? We've seen such streaks, although yes, some rounds we have been seeing just this one-for-one trade of rounds, but none of them have really been really common on getting 2 rounds in a row. And even right now, as if it's happening, SilentFamily, they use a tactical timeout. They stop MG Minions from maybe claiming a second one and equalizing it out, and then they get back on where they left off.
I feel like this might be something that, you know, maybe the side swap could have done that. Because for some teams, it can act as that kind of mental reset where they'll say, well, you know, we can bring this back. You know, they use that time to say, right, we didn't have a great defensive side, so we're going to have a good attacking side. It's just that simple. They picked up that first round. They are going to have to try and attack it again. And the question is, what adaptations are going to be needed for the side of SilentFamily to win out that round? But then what is Minions going to be aware of that they might try and adapt, that they're going to need to be prepared for? So what they're doing right now is they're doing what they did before. They're having somebody not just have everyone focus over towards admin side, somebody down below, somebody there running disruption. Because if they're able to pick up an early kill from an area that's not being expected, it's going to open everything up for the rest of the side over towards that admin area.
We've seen this upstairs site so many times, I honestly am starting to believe it's the majority of rounds going towards it, and looking to collect right now the first round, SilentFamily and MG Minions, that equalization, that equality, that balance. It's beautiful to see, and for Minions, it would work out. SilentFamily, I don't think they'd be too keen on seeing it. No kills dropped yet, and just as I said, it's going to be Caster Curse. Poor Benz is going to be the victim of it. Interlude, he finds him. That's going to be a great opening, and not only a great opening, but the operator taken off is very unfortunate here for SilentFamily as they lose that Azami, the key to blocking the attackers out of sight.
Yeah, exactly. Now, with that opening pick as well, gives the attackers another entry into this. The Goro comes through, and Glock already on low HP will be put in a much more awkward situation. Now aware of where Northy is, will win that gunfight. The Stone and Pellers just giving them a little bit more freedom to work with. They're going to have to drop down below. They're going to have to rotate up yellow. They cannot afford to leave side, because now that they've evened things out, they've got an opportunity to bring it back. Now that they've evened things out, they have to get back to side to make sure that that advantage, that they're not at that deficit when it does come to the execute. The corridor again being opened up from the side of Livingston, looking to get that entry onto site. And again, like you said, we're seeing defenders take crossing, trying to take the gunfights. And now we'll see Timon pushing into the defending area, pushing in, getting marked up, and basically putting their head on a platter for the player of Interlude to take control of. A minute ticking down, and the attackers feeling very confident in how they're going to make this execute.
They absolutely should be. Not only do they have them above, but they now lose the ace. It's pinged out, but in the end, the shots just won't be connecting. A nice little double kill trading out for the down player, as it's going to be leaving Burks in a 1v4 situation. We've been seeing this so much times for the defenders. It's happened time and time again, and we're in it again. Although down onto the Ash, it will be enough to claim one. Spiny coming around the corner, though, to finish the job. Make sure that these 1v1s aren't going to be allowed. That this Echo is going to be in no position to make a clutch, and the rounds going yet again to the defenders, which is gonna be, or actually the attackers, my mistake, which is gonna be Minions. They clutch it out, they get a nice equalization through, and with it, we're back to this 4-4, and we're looking to get the sixth round, and whoever claims it first, well, yet again, it's a chance.
Yeah, I mean, for this one, like you say, this is a key round because for the side of minions, they can get control of the game, get everything back in pocket for themselves, and most importantly, they can
Attackers
really
need to
start to
locate
get
and
this
defuse
game
bombs.
underway in their kind of fashion. They've got two attacking rounds. They've taken that top four twice. That is good. That is good work.
Attackers have
And
discovered the
now it's
location of a
really
bomb.
down to the side of Silent Family to just start stepping up and start closing things down. Yes, they were able to get some really good opportunities. Yes, Jugo was able to really put a thorn in their side towards that Visa stairs, but it didn't have that impact that it needed. It wasn't as critical because they were able to walk up those stairs. But again, Mercs are being left in a 2 versus 1. They've gone for the aggressive option, and while that has worked out so far, it wasn't what was needed in that situation.
5
They
seconds.
needed that backup because in terms of buying time, they could have done that and walked up yellow and stayed
Attackers are
alive.
moving to
I
defuse
would
the
like to
bomb.
see a little bit more conservative thinking in situations like that in the future. But for now, let's focus on the here and now. Roam clear going to be needed from the side of minions.
Oh, this is interesting. Brought back yet again. Block, pulling out the boomstick, the big boss G itself. Although I think MG minions here have a secondary plan in mind. They look to go a bit more from the backside, slowly approach the side itself, although we see this spread out again. Although it's a bit closer. You know, we have 3 players together, 2 somewhere else. I don't know where those exactly are, but it's something a bit closer. They're nicely connected like stars in the sky, and with it, MG minions, they have a bit more of an idea of how they want to push this through. The Nomad being on there for flanks, the Nomad air jab not being too well placed, I'd say, although it's the idea behind it that's working out. We just need to get to this execution nice and safe, get those defenders and running back to their site, and the attackers to it safely. Breach is coming out. We have 3 below and 2 above. It's a nice little balance.
Exactly. Now the drone's coming through. The Bravo drone going to look to really deal with this utility and really try and turn the change of things in terms of economy for the side of the attackers. Sorry. Give it that main camera. That's now something that the defenders cannot use against you, and a little bit more information in favor of the attack. Block and Ben's both in a very awkward situation. SWAT though is going to make the most of it. Finds that pick, and Glock isn't spotted, isn't droned out. At the moment, that is something that can really turn things around. Jugo going to find Swap, will have an answer, will even things out, look for another kill, will be able to find it. Now the rest of the attackers need to start getting this execute underway, and they need to be aware that Glock is going to be sat there. Glock is going to be waiting, and then hopefully not need to be droned out. Time ticks down. The attackers, no doubt, going to have to push it.
Minions passing that leverage over to Silent Families. Now it's a 4v3 for themselves. The defenders, yet again, all they need is to hold them off, but I don't think that's going to be working out too well. Interload, he finds one for himself. That's going to be the second one for MG, or actually against, for MG minions. The attack looking great. We have so much points here, and we have so much angles. In the meanwhile, it's a down onto the Goyo, but a finished kill for Clock to eliminate him out of the match. Falling short of players, it's a 2v2. Interload, he gets the double, and also Spiny with the third right behind him. It's left down to this 1v2 on the dock. Timu, can you do it? Hold your angles correctly and get that information locked and loaded. You could be having a comfortable match. Nice pre-fires, gives himself away. The positioning is clear, but so is his gun. As Interload, he pushes in fast. He realizes what the hour is and what the time is it is, because in the end, if of course this dock could have gotten away after that kill, it would have been left down to a 1v1 situation, and I love the adaptation that was brought about by MG Minions. The second they see it, you know, sprint right to the player, make sure it doesn't happen.
Yeah, so I believe a rehost has been called on this one, so we will be taking a very quick moment just to realize what's going on. Where are we? I mean, this is a situation in which we saw Minion Family start out on the attack strong. They're getting really good opportunities. I mean, they lost that opening pick, yeah, but in that round, they had brought it back, and like you say, the momentum had shifted. It went entirely in their favor, and as a result, then they could have brought it back. Just overpeaking a little bit too much. We're just giving away a little bit too much. And as a result of that, it meant that Unions were able to bring it back. They're able to win those gunfights. I mean, we're going to come back to our cameras here because we're just going to give the players time to get everything sorted and figure everything out. But looking at that round, Silent Family should have won that. Yes, it wasn't their round at the very start, but they shouldn't have been in a situation where they would give it away that much. And I think Minions, this is where they're really starting to show kind of that experience and that kind of stamina that they can keep up at a best of three and they can make sure that they're still doing everything they need to do right.
MG Minions have had this overlapping sense of presence throughout the entirety of the match. Even on the defense, I've been seeing a lot more adaptability, and with it, the adaptation has been stronger. We've seen it on the attack. They haven't been sticking too close, they haven't been sticking too far. Positioning is on there, and communication seems to be quite close too. Now, if we put all of that in mind, it's logical that they should be winning rounds because that's what they're currently doing. At the start, of course, they needed some time to get the engine running, but it started. Now they're in the driver's seat, and now they get into first gear, maybe into second. Whatever the case is, they are above currently what Silent Family are doing, and I need Silent
Mm.
Family to lock in if they want this to go out of regulation.
Yeah, and like I say, things really are starting to slip away from them now. That is 3 rounds on the trot that they've been able to lose. They haven't picked up a round on the defense so far, and that's really getting to them, I imagine, because at this situation, they're winning gunfights, they're making opportunities, but they're not capitalizing upon it. As a result, minions, they're going to be riding high. They've gone to the attack and they're doing it very, very well. They're going in, they're making mistakes, but they're correcting them. As a result of that, that means that they're just moving forward. They're not really complaining, and they're getting everything pretty much as they should. Right now, I feel like the best thing they can do is just keep that communication going. I know it's probably a difficult situation that they're in, a difficult mental situation for morale, but they need to just keep things going. Just keep doing the basics. Keep thinking, okay, well, we've got a couple of kills, we've got some time. Let's take a breather. Let's think about this. How are we going to proceed from here? Do we need to peak this? Do we need to go swinging this? Because that's also a question you've got to ask and feel like something that isn't being asked all the time when maybe it should have.
I feel like every single round up until now has been a 50-50. There's no doubt about it. Every single time it's been one team who takes one, the other team takes the second, and of course we just nicely ravel things all up. But in general, it's been really close. But all the rounds have been one-sided. That's the difference. It's all left down to a 1vx, 1v3, 1v4, you name it, and it's really close. But in the end, of course, when it gets down to that final minute, once all players are cleared out of the map that need to be, it's either the attackers or defenders who completely crush the remaining player. Now, what we need to change here is that type of refrac. We haven't been seeing much refracs. Of these players, they've gotten double, triple kills, chaining them on one to another, but there has been no sort of refrac. Earlier in the round on the defense, we saw that 2 kills came out. Well, we got a nice down onto the Ash. It
Yeah.
couldn't get finished. The bullets just didn't fly through. There was no team communication. We also saw people running left, right, and center. And that's just not a way to go about it. You have to have nice communication, be all lined up. Think as one. Basically, it's a hive mind play that you need to do, not just one single player doing a rank session on their own.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about this kind of rehost that we're actually in at the moment because this is a break on the losing streak for Silent Family. So the mental, this is something that, well, nobody wants to rehost. This is something they're going to take advantage of while they're able to. It's just like that disconnect in bank in that overtime, that key crucial moment. They're going to use it as much as they can, even if it isn't what they wanted to happen. They're going to be using this time to reset, talk about what's happening, how they're going wrong, how their roamers are dealing with things, their micro positioning, because those are some of the things I really want to see them start to improve on if we do see them moving forward. We know they can frag, we know they can enter. It's just when things start going wrong, what do they do then? That I haven't really seen much of an answer for because when things go wrong, it tends to go wrong from the start in a big way for them. It kind of snowballs. Whereas when minions are losing rounds, it doesn't seem to be that much, at least on this map.
Yeah, and Consulate really is a tiebreaker. It's completely different from Bank and Night Haven if we separate them, at least objective wise. Of course, comparing the map in size and how it plays out, how its layout is, I would say Bank is quite close to it. Although, with how
Mm,
you go about it, with how you clear things out, it is completely different, especially because of the proactivity, the aggression that one team brings to the other. This defense, we've seen every single time there's someone on defense, they're aggressive. They're more aggressive than the attackers are. They either play an admin and completely offside and leave a player there to possibly be a
mm.
victim of a scene that just shouldn't happen in the first place, or of course it works out, and That's what's been causing these rounds time and time again, and hoping to see maybe a bit of a change, maybe a bit more of a shell strategy. Shell in nicely up tight in sight, extend maybe to admin, and then back off. Once you've wasted that time, don't go for swinging unnecessary. Of course,
Yeah.
you do get those swings in. We've seen plenty of them on the admin side, onto the windows. A nice low swing from the SMG-11 gets the first opening. But then when you go in for that second swing, you allow the enemies to punish you, get it back, and that's honestly just not value for you or your team.
Mm. Yeah, we're not saying don't swing. We're
Yeah.
saying be smart about how you swing because realistically, if you're swinging and you're just swinging everything for the sake of it, it's not going to help. It's going to really be a detriment. If you're swinging and it's calculated aggression, where it's like, right, okay, can we afford to give this up? What do we gain? What do we lose from this? If you take it from that point of view, then there are opportunities in which you would want to swing. And there are moments when positioning aggressively, not necessarily peaking, like we saw Glock doing in that last round before this rehost, in situations like those where that can actually have an impact as well. And it factors in massively into the decision making. It is something that can genuinely change the pace of a game. And if it does, days. If it's not adhered to properly, then you do run that risk of just swinging everything for the sake of swinging it, and that is not the situation you want to be in.
Yeah. Now, as we're currently going to rehost, I do think we're going to be throwing it just to a small break. Nothing more than 3 minutes. We don't necessarily want to ramble on for too long here. So we're going to be leaving you to calm down and get back with full intensity. Reserve your energy, and we'll be back with you in a second. Well, it's not to say that it was a bit of a lie when I said we'll be back with you shortly, but we're back, so I didn't technically lie. Whatever the case is here, it's still me, Puffle Bob. It's still McCready here, to my left, to my right. Whatever the case is, I can't say it off the top of my head. And McCready, there seems to be something off. Can you explain what's happening on screen right now?
We're back, but two players aren't. And you can see at the moment that the kind of top main players have been kind of looking to stay in here. So on the side of, I believe, on the side of minions, I believe it is. I'll check the name because I don't know what's happened here. But it's been so long. I'll put the name of these players. But realistically, the main thing we need to focus on is the fact that we have had a massive break off the back of 3 rounds going in favor of MG Minions, and now they're down a player on a defense, which, while yes, it is a 4 for the attack zone, but while it is a 4 versus 4, this is a big impact because you're not able to kind of maximize the strategy you've got. You're not able to go around. They go for an execute. If you have something that relies upon being able to have a few people over towards that door by these stairs, a couple of people over towards yellow, and then one person probing around, that's not something that you're going to be able to do anymore. You're not going to be able to commit that utility. The same with roaming, that's going to be affected by this. And most importantly, I feel like this was something I wanted to see from SilentFamily, so I feel like they're going to get impacted as well by this. Very quick spawn peek. We'll try and make it so it's a 3 versus 4 instead of a 4 versus 4. Will not find a kill, but will do damage onto Swat, who's been a massive player.
Yeah, I think this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity you get to see a 4v4 and competitive, especially agreed by both teams, which did take a bit, but we're here at the end of the day, and we're here to finish it off. It's still that 4-5 score, and we look to claim for MG Minions that match point, while SilentFamily, just like MG Minions prior to these rounds that were headed over to earlier, claim to equalize it out, get that 5-5, and then yet again, it's the race to match point. Who can get it first, and then a second one right after to finish it in regulation, or of course, as you know it, it's going to be overtime. In the meanwhile, we get some headlocks going. Deimos' ability is out, starting to slowly target on to this Goyo, but the Mew Jammer is helping him out as the Brava drone makes its way around, tries to hack out maybe a Maestro too, but the Mew does cancel it out.
Yeah, so admin control fully in the favor of the attackers on this one, with Nordy dropping down below to do a little bit of roam clear as well, but in the 4 versus 4, like I say, it's a little bit less essential now because there's a lot less chance someone's going to be there. Problem is, now the situation they're in is that they've taken control of admin, but now they're going to cross that threshold. That is that hallway, and with those Maestro cameras, the bulletproof cam and the Meat Jammer, it's going to be very difficult to do so. You felt like the bees and the deathlock is going to help, but it isn't going to be exactly what is needed. A lot of damage will go out into the side of minions, and as that scan does come through, information for Nordy comes through. while the mute jammer does follow, it's going to be Mercs who's able to find that first kill, getting SWAT taken off the board. Low HP for Nordy and Archie here. This might be very much in favor of the defenders, even though there's still only one player between them.
Now it comes out over a down to Marchie. That's Mercs, a second one for him, as it's a 2v4 here with 45 on the clock. Slowly ticking gets down. It's also these players losing their lives in the midst of all this action, and that's going to be Mercs with the triple. Alda here looking to claim the ace, and it's still on board. Technically, 4 kills would here still count for an ace. Keep that in mind because only 4 players are on one team, and one of them just got taken out. That's going to be the clock. Keep that in mind. 1v1s brought about one time after another. It's left down to these final 2 remaining contenders against Spiny, who looks to clear them both off the board. He has a time limit, 15 seconds, a rough estimate about it, and Dry swinging out of the corner. Alda gets more, but in the end, there's going to be Jugo swinging around the corner, getting that mirror through, hiding behind him, the red dot on the vector, claiming it, and with it, the defense get yet another, and now it's a 5-5 equalization.
Yeah, so again, we're going to be equalizing this one. Neither team were able to concede or able to get over to that 6-5 scoreline at the moment. That is all set to change. Very good round for the defense there. They were able to really lock things down. And I think we've got to talk about it. There is that player difference. Instead of a 4v4, it's a 5v. Instead of a 5v5, it's a 4v4. That means the attackers are going to go in underhanded just a little bit more. It's going to be a lot tougher to go in. Because of that means that top floor was very much a kind of fortress to go up against. Well, once they got admin, they did great. They got that out quick. They're having a great time. But the problem was, as soon as they had to get over that beta hallway, that was where things really started to stall out. The utility, the information, it was all just wasting too much time. And they didn't want to go ahead. They didn't want to take that gunfight, but they knew they had to. Because they knew if they lost that, I mean, seeing that 4v4 scoreline isn't amazing. But going to a 3 versus 4, that's something as an attacking team you don't want to see. And as a result, teams are going to try and avoid that. Kind of led to a bit of stalling out, and hopefully we're going to see a change to that on this bottom floor. But the problem is, we're on a big map with only 8 players in the lobby buffer. So now with a room clear, it's going to take a lot more time for something that might not even happen. If you don't have as many players that you can commit to that, or to commit to the cutoffs.
Yeah, that's such a major thing in play here, that fact that you only have 4 players, which also limits you. If most of the time when there were these very early openings, it was a 4v5. This time around, it would be a 3v4, and it would only count down. At the same time, players would be lost and brought down to 0 a lot faster. At least 1 player faster, if we're being statistic about it. Now, looking at these lineups, yet again, we haven't talked about them, mostly because of the kills that have been dropping. Just like Locke, he puts it on the kill feed, that's going to be Archie. Off the board, 6 foot under, puts the final nail in the coffin for him, as that's going to be the Ash off the board. And yet again, this is what I'm talking about. It's that 3v4 advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And now they're going to pull back down to the basement side, because now that they've done that, they're in a very good position to hold in tight and just wait things out. Those Q miners going to log in, and they're going to also have that passive effect as time goes on. The gold canister is also going to get only more valuable as time goes on, and it feels like minions don't really want to go for this attack. They don't want to go for the breach. They're just going to try and get control of that backside and go in. The problem is, look at the operators, look at the setup. They're going to play perfectly into the defensive lineup, and as a result, these ACOGs on Jugo and Timu are really going to shine. Jugo, a player that really can make this mark and make this hit, and especially on this angle as well. We've seen a massive impact before. We're going to see it again as we hit that halfway mark.
Again, we have that Goyu, we have that Legion to start really targeting out and wasting the time of MG minions here. As they approach, they walk into Legions, that staggers them. They have to back off, take some damage, pull the Legion Gu out, or of course be without the running capability, and then including the Goyos, which have to be popped. There's one on the right, you saw it. That wastes about 15 seconds, and 15 seconds here are extremely valuable, as well as of course the fire be dealing very immense amounts of damage. Breach is coming out, and the MG minions all 3 bunched up at once. This could be C4s flying out, this could be utility all at once, or gun mayhem, as of course it's going to be a 1-for-1 deal. In the meanwhile, back to this 2v3, leverage still for SilentFamily, as of course it's down to the remaining 2. SWAT, he finds 1, he finds the second as well, and it's all left down to Glock to clutch it out, trying to go off of the information he's given. He's looking for any angles, maybe off angles he can punish these players off of as the drone comes in. That's going to be the information. So pings from the defenders to help him out as much as as possible. Although with the 25 seconds remaining, flashes are coming out. He eats it up like the bullets that his teammates ate in the previous sessions, and with it, he peeks, blinded, half blinded with only one eye, and SWAT punishes him for it.
And again, I mean, that's another round. That is match point for Minions, and I mean, this is the first time they've been in season point, a series point. Sorry, I feel like this one, Bob, that has happened before. It may feel like a while ago because it was a while ago before we actually had to go for this rehost. But that had happened before. We'd seen a player in that 2 versus 1 situation in a round that should have been won by the defense. They had everything they needed. They had the opening pick. They had the time. They pulled back, but the gunfights were just won by SWAT. They were able to take them. They were given one-on-one engagements, and that is where they were able to clean things out and clean house. As a result, then we saw a 1 versus 2 on the side of the defense, which is not the situation they wanted to be in. Almost like for like, almost frame for frame. And as we do go in what could be this final round, it looks like they are going to head down below again. Again, I'm seeing a lot of utility focusing more towards this breach side, especially that one mirror window from Jugo. I'm not a fan of that purely because I feel like they've not tried that attack once. They've constantly gone for that service side push. They've constantly tried to push from behind. That mirror window, maybe something else focusing on it. Add a little bit more pressure for the side of the defenders that is badly needed. There's been no kind of real presence towards that main breach, has there?
Yeah, at the same time, we have SilentFamily also bringing out the bandit who could help out the mirror window. What I'm focusing my eyes on and my sight is gonna be the score here. McCready, it's 6-5. MG Minions, they win it out. Oh, it's official. They're going into the qualification. If not, SilentFamily, they take it to overtime, and that's where it all gets decided. It is not unlimited OT, so with that in mind, of course, there's going to be only one winner, and this is not going to be dragging on as long as possible. Although with the 4v4 at hand, some damage is dropped. It's going to be Northy taking the early hits, and that's not good. It's the Ace. The heart support should not be in a position like it.
Yes, but they still have a bit of HP. Only 110 now, docked down to 102. It's, like I say, not ideal, but it's certainly not the end of the world. Now, big thing to remind you of is that we have seen overtime once already. That is where we've seen SilentFamily win it out. It was overtime. Then when we got to the side of Bank, it was not how that went in that game. It's a 7-5 victory. And now with 2 minutes left on the clock, it feels like Minions are feeling confident moving forward. Map Breach will get done again. The util and the meat jammer will be taken away to get those drones in and get that information locked in for the team. And they'll look at opening the storage side into sight again. One of their big problems that they're going to have to face is these mirror windows, is these lines of sight help with a vector, and with that mirror window taken away for Kitchen, it's going to be much, much harder. Glock going to start things off with 1 kill. Only 3 more to follow on the defensive side, and with that banded information of Mercs, that might just go in favor of the attack. That might be what they need, but as they pull back, it isn't going to happen. Time taking every second. It feels like it's taking forever because any move, any mistake could seal the fate of this game and put the Minions in for that qualification.
That opening kick onto Northy alongside with Archie there is not going to be leading you anywhere closer towards that victory in regulation. And SilentFamily, they basically secure themselves. Although earlier we saw Minions, a 2v4 clutch, it happened. Why could it not happen again? We're going to have to see. A minute still remains, and all defenders are now not playing aggressive. They're standing back, holding their crossfires, and making sure that whoever approaches these angles is going to be endangered. And I think that's going to be SWAT directly on the spot in the position. Perfect for that vector to make its way through. And Spiny, I mean, he's left alone standing. He has not much to go off of, only hoping that people swing him. Sadly, SilentFamily, they're playing for safety and want that qualification badly, so they're definitely not going to be taking unnecessary swings. No bodies will be given, and with it, 25 seconds remain, not much to go off of. And MG Minions, while though it was very nice to see the strategy they brought very early on, get that Ash, get those mirror windows running. In the end, it just won't be colliding with anything else. A nice pick for Spino there, but I don't think it's going to be transitioning to any more. A nice little punch hole at the bottom, slowly taking us down, and with it, we go into overtime.
Yes, exactly. Now the round that SilentFamily was surely hoping for on that last round is going to come in their favor this time. And we are going to go to overtime again on 2 out of 3 maps. As we see that the overtime sides are going to stay exactly the same, that means we are going to see Minions on the attack again. This is a good thing for Minions. They had a really good attacking side. Their defensive side they actually quite struggled on. And for the side of minions, this is exactly the situation you want to be in. You want to be in a situation where you're going to go in, you expect you've had a good side on it. Yes, it has had a massive break and a massive breather to maybe cut that momentum, but then they've just won that attacking round then to put us on to that match point. Now, going to this top floor, the question is the big question. Are we going to see any changes coming out from the side of the attack? Are they going to be focusing on trying to deal with this highway pressure on this one long hallway? Are they going to try and put some pressure over towards yellow and maybe that CEO window? Or are they going to try and go for the same thing? Well, with the operators on the board, it looks like it's going to stay the same.
Yeah, what works in here for SilentFamily is their earlier strategy where they split apart or were completely cluttered together. With 4 players, necessarily you can't go for that 3-2 split that's so common amongst players, but rather just stick with either being very close or at least completely together. There's no in between, and if you spread apart, yes, yet again, it is pressure from a lot of sides. At the same time, it's a gamble to see if you do those 1v1s you're offered time after time again. MG Minion, they go on the attack. We see the Ying absolutely dominant. Also still sticking out with these strong operators. The Brava, that is no joke to be handled, and with it, hopefully, it's not going to be too much of a bane towards SilentFamily as they look to defend. Now, they don't have much gadgets to hack. Of course, that Maestro camera is definitely something that Brava is setting her eyes on the prize. And in the meanwhile, what an aggressive play from Northy as he sneaks up onto one, finding Glock, and that's going to be an early opportunity to get themselves a good round in.
Yeah, and a much needed one as well, as I'm sure I really don't need to explain at this point. Now, as they start to move forward, Jugo, Timo, and Mercs all have to hold that backside. They hear that window breaking and are aware that they might need to cover another angle. With 3 defenders on the board, it's just going to be even more difficult and more stressful for them. Bones start to go out as the attackers realize with those 2 minutes on the clock, they've got time. They can take this carefully. They can be precise in what they do, work together on how they're going to deal with it. And when they do take these gunfights, they're going to take them on their terms. Moving into that admin side and moving towards that highway again. The question is, do they stall out again? Well, the Ying, that's what the Ying and Bravo are for, to clear that utility and just deal with that transition period a lot easier. You see that camera, Archie's just walking by, he is taken by Bravo. This means he can just walk up halfway in the round. Spaniolo is able to find Mercs. Now it's only down to Timu and Jugu. The question is, can it be done 2 versus 4?
Oh, we're gonna have to see. Yeah, C4 comes out, so it doesn't knife kill. That's the first one of the time. Even if it is just a finisher, it's something to keep in mind. Although it's a nice 3v1, the plant is going down, smokes are completely out. There's no C4 on deck. You already used one, and you got a nice pick. But in the end, it's gonna be this plant that's gonna be your final bait. It's gonna be what finishes it off. And although nice bullets are delivered to Northy, he manages to just escape away in time, leaving it in a 1v3. Now Candela's on hand, leaving the Ying to be just guns and nothing alone, no gadget. And this day was tracking out from below is gonna be what finishes it all. Although with this rotation, you have one on your left, you have one from below, and on your right, completely cornered out. There is not much that can be done here, and with it, it's gonna be a round over for MG Minions, as now they're at match point and 1 away from claiming it.
Yeah, I feel like that round never really went any other way than Minions' way. They got that opening pick. They got an opening two kills actually. What happened then was they were able to just slow things down. They got a utility to deal with that problem area from the last time they attacked this site, and they dealt with it. The util was dealt with. The Grimbees went out, and they were good for clearing that area, and also good for that execute as well. As soon as the plant went down, yes, there was a trade coming through. They were still able to get that kill, and as a result, that meant that it was just the mirror left to Jugo. What happened then is the rest of the attackers just split apart. They left that site as soon as that plant went down. They took their long angles, and while they nearly lost the Ash, playing over towards admin, they had kind of contingencies. They thought about what happens when things go wrong. How are we going to deal with it? That's exactly what they dealt with. They decided to position around for it, get that contingency in place, get those players positioned where they needed to. I think Fame was playing down below with those scans. Beautiful. That was it really for me. That round was over as soon as the Deimos had that left mark in pocket, once you realize that. Now they're going to have to attack that site. Well, they're going to have to defend that site, sorry. And they're going to have to make sure that they do so without giving anything to either side of SilentFamily, because one round can put us over to match point and an 8-7 victory for one of these two teams. Or victory here and clean things out. End this all and give them that guaranteed spot to the next stage of Season 9 ESA Cup. A lot of pressure over towards this admin side already.
Without a doubt, not only have the predictions been on MG Minion's side, but they've been completely overwhelming. Although this match and all we've been seeing up until now has been extremely nicely both-sided, it has been really nicely scaled. The balance is offsetting, but in the meanwhile, it's a 4v4. We get early breaches for SilentFamily here as they try to make their attack be known. Looking at this admin side, because as an attacker, when pushing up to the upstairs, you have to play off of these windows and get the upstairs. That's how important this side is. The information that once playing off the window, as the defenders are also extending towards cafeteria, going from below. That's going to be a nice one from Merce. He finds Northia, drop out from the Y, trying not to be too careful, but at the same time, you don't want to risk yourself losing that life you have.
Yeah, Spiny has to drop now. They can't afford to hold that position. Now they've lost that player on the board. So they're going to rotate over towards Ben the Machine. Now, this can work out massively, or it can backfire horribly. If he's drummed out in that position, then they're able to just catch him off guard on that execute. Can shut this down when it really matters. If they get droned out, well, they're in a really difficult situation. The util is going to follow the nade. Well, no nades, but the guns are going to be launched in that position. It's going to make life hell. So SWAT's job here is to distract them, take this gunfight, and at least get their heads turning this way. As the drone comes out, they'll just play aggressive, position aggressively. They don't need to swing everything. They just need to divert that attention. Spidey's able to back things up. A minute 20 on the clock. SWAT's going to get taken down by Timu. And no doubt now SilentFamily feeling like they are still in this game as we start to get down to 1 minute on the clock. Free fire angles are going to come through from the side of SilentFamily. They're most likely going to be checking the angles Archie and Spiny are both holding. As time ticks down, the drones go through and cut the tension with a knife. Start to make pressure over towards it. The player over admin gets spotted, does get taken down by Spiny, who's able to find Timu, but Hugo gets taken down as well. It's a 2 versus 2 Buffo, and they're pushing onto site.
A 2v4, a number so familiar with SilentFamily, but now there's the victims of it, almost finishing out what was down, but in the end, it's going to be no cigar. 30 seconds, you want to get that player back up and running, as in the meanwhile, 3v2 is so much more advantageous, but Merc's now completely stuck inside. He's in corner, and in the meanwhile, Buck taking such heavy damage, locked down to his last 6, and 1 bullet is enough to finish the job on 2. The ace has the diffuser, and that just shouldn't be right. A nice one from Spiny. He gets the second into the round. The plant is going down, but the Malusi is finding one. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but in the end, it's going to be SilentFamily who get the 7th round.
Yes, and they keep themselves in and push us to max overtime. It's going all the way, because if they had that break, they lost out on Bank. They won it out on Nighthaven Labs, and now they're going to have to try and find it and close it down for the Minions on this overtime match point. Going on to their favorite side on this map. But the thing is, that was a very, very close round there. I feel like SilentFamily, if they're able to keep up that pace, keep it together like they did just then, they can push this. They've got a really good chance. I can't see this going either way. I'm just excited to see what happens. We're going to head back to that bottom floor, which has gone very, very even in the last couple of rounds, but mostly gone in favor of the side of Minions.
Overtime match points. It's the Big 15 Big Boss Max OT, and this could not have gone any longer. And with it, we are going to have the ultimate decider between the two teams. Of course, predictions said otherwise, but MG Minions have not had the performance everyone thought they were going to have against SilentFamily, as they do pull their weight and now make it all the way through. They can have themselves a very nice qualification, or get the second chance in a lower bracket where they can also be thrown out of it, or, of course, go right after whoever the victor is here. Now, going downstairs, you said it, it's been quite even. There's been defender and attacker wins. It's been a 50-50, I would say, of sorts, at least from what I remember. Of course, if I don't have the memory of a goldfish, although bringing out that mirror again, quite deadly. We don't have a counter to her, which is even deadlier. There's no Ash, there's no Twitch, no nothing. We have verticality, we see the Damo, the Buck as well, and the Rat. It's triple verticals alongside the Thermite just to go for that main breach for extra pressure and rotation cutoff.
Exactly. Now, looking at this as they start moving forward, they're going to have to be very, very careful about this. Because like you say, if any mistake is made, if they do mess up on this rotation cutoff, then it can end it all. So like you say, they're going into that top floor. The droning has to be pinpoint, has to be precise. They're taking control of yellow stairs, and all with the Deimos is looking to get an early contest onto Timu. They know that player's there. But the defense don't know exactly where Northie is now. Doesn't matter though, because they're going to back up and play it safe. They're not going to overextend. As a result now, with a minute left on the clock, the vertical control is in favor of the attackers. Not really got much to show for it until now, which is when that bug starts to open up, opens themselves up to the C4s, and potentially taking down 3 C4s in pocket here. If Mercs is able to spot it perfectly, it can really end this. And Archie, no doubt, can hear that C4 down below. It goes off, doesn't find its mark. And now it's going to be Northy getting down, taken out by Mercs, and Evil Archie looking for the refrag on this one. Isn't able to find it just yet. Has to get that hatch open. Why is it only being done now? Because right now you're going to see Cade. Mercs is going to be looking for another kill on that hatch. And with half the round left, the 3 versus 4, this is where it's going to start getting interesting.
I'd be scared if I were minions. There's 2 C4s still on SilentFamily's deck. They start throwing and chucking those. You could be quite in danger. You already lost the Deimos. Who leaves it to lose that buck, that ram? And with it, while you still go for verticalities, I'm just waiting for it to be jacked. And there it is. That's Jugo with 1. Baron's Archive. That's going to be the second point of verticality, leaving Spiny and Swa all alone in a 2v4. Now, MG minions almost did it earlier. Same time, SilentFamily did do so previously, and will it happen now? Well, certainly not, as a 1v4 brought about by Jugo. The Vector finds one and looking to claim another. Spiny now going up yellow, watching out for flankers, which is being cautious, but at the same time, you're wasting time. The diffuser isn't in your hands, and you're left onto the verticality you made, trying to play off of the hatch, but it's just too disadvantageous. Throwing flashes, you let yourself be known, and with it, this could be MG Minion's demise.
It looks like it because in running past that hatch, they've given their position away. The defenders know exactly where they are. They might get this kill. They might be able to find Jugo, but as the C4 goes up, it doesn't find its mark, but it pushes them out of position. Block that takes damage. They don't know that a player might be coming up these stairs. As the round start to come out. At 10 seconds left, you need to get the execute. Block starts taking damage. Will be taken away, but Timu shuts it down. And that is going to be SilentFamily almost at the edge of defeat. Going to bring it back and put themselves through to qualify for the next stage of ESA Season 9. A very hard-fought game, a very long series for both teams, but at the end of the day, can only be one winner. That is SilentFamily.
It goes without saying that these 2 teams, they were toe-to-toe, eye for eye, absolute yin and yang between these 2. And while the rivalry does end with 1 winner and 1 loser, that's gonna be determined right here and then. It's gonna be SilentFamily taking it home, MG Minions being down a bracket and looking to claim that qualification in the following match after this one. And also with it, before we do go to the results, go to the end, we also have to show you the match that's going to be upcoming soonly after. I do believe that's going to be the next one on your screen right now. It's going to be MG yet again, with this time around facing off against MVG Molotov Gang, who we have seen previously. So an interesting matchup as well. Do keep an eye out for it. It's going to be tomorrow, same time as today, and hopefully with a little less Ubisoft issues. And with it, thank you so much for watching. I mean, look at these brackets. We do have to keep that in mind as well. SilentFamily in 3-1 qualified, and 2-2 score for MG Minions.
Yes, now another 2 teams to qualify in this stage at the moment. But like you say, you have to watch tomorrow and I believe Thursday to see what teams those are going to be. But that is all from us at the moment, as we do want to say thank you for watching and sticking with us through this absolute marathon of a series. We want to help you enjoy the rest of your evening. Make sure you check us out tomorrow because you do not want to miss a single game, especially if they're going to be like that. We'll see you soon.